And we are live. Welcome to the Political Orphans. My name is Nico, and I am your in-house conservative. To my left, Rob Ambrose, our token lefty. And together, we look at what's trending in the news. Our goal is simple. We want to show you that the left and the right can get along. And even if we disagree, guess what? We're able to have a conversation like normal human beings. Because remember, common sense has no political affiliations. What's going on, guys?
How's it going, brother? Jason, good to see you.
Looking good, Nico. Looking good, Robbie.
Yes, sir. You too, brother.
What's up, guys? It's crazy. I love your introduction about getting along because I just left a chat group like 6 hours ago of 500 socialists that are incapable of getting along.
Well, that's like the key. That's like a. No, go ahead.
No, last night I was basically saying that if you want a third party movement, there are some minor differences you have to put aside. Like if you're for like workers' pay, cool, that's a major issue. If you're for like Medicare for all, that's a major issue. So forget, there are other things that you're not going to agree on, like Gaza and this and that. And they were just like, no, you're just like the Democrats. If you do that, you're caving into them. You're doing, and they find themselves talking at someone instead of to someone. And I was like, I'd like a chance to respond. They're like, no, we need to move on. I said, oh hell, I said the man said my name, so hell no. So that was last night, and I'm so glad to be part of Political Orphans because we get heated, but we don't, what I'm saying, we don't do none of that. We don't talk at each other. We talk to each other.
No,
we never right. And Nico will tell you.
Hold on. Explain.
Yeah.
Put it into context. What were you doing yesterday? Because I'm not sure I understand.
He was in.
I don't understand why you would be with socialists and
group chat with.
Want to be communists, but explain that to us.
Leftist.
The same reason why I'm with a staunch Republican and Democrat and sitting in the middle.
He's open.
Because I talk to everybody.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, no, there's a group called Revolutionary Blackout Network where if I want the truth, they're not beholden to a party to lie to. But the problem is you got to put it with the judgy bullshit, right? It's I'm not waiting for a Democrat to be in office to ask for something as a voter and as an American, right? I'm not waiting for Jesus, for someone who has no fucking like worst moment to be in office. That day's never going to come. So that was my argument. And they didn't see it my way.
Well, that's kind of a calling card of most, leftist / socialist places is that purity test, right? You can't, you can't.
They're joyless. They're joyless and intolerant.
So, did you ever see the video of it was a socialist convention, and oh my god, it was so funny. They couldn't get anywhere because like each person came up and they had a motion, and the motion was like, I think you should stop saying
this.
And, oh, it's such a good
and Nico loves it because Nico knows when you start speaking at someone instead of to someone and you don't make it about the issue. To me, I think you start losing an argument when like if Nico's winning the argument about me, I'm gonna be like, yeah, that's why you're bald head. I'll say something that has nothing to do with the argument. And Nico starts smiling because he knows I'm that's why he's saying you're a fucking loser, Jay. And he knows he's smiling because he's went through that before with people. Look at Nico's face. He's went through that with people.
I'm so used to getting hate that I know when to just walk away. I just know when it's not worth my time. I know when I shouldn't, when you're not moving the needle at all, like there's nothing you can do to move the needle. The person's not listening to you. And, it's funny. Hopefully my buddy's not listening to this and his wife either, because I'm going to talk about them. But I was in Richmond, Virginia over the weekend as we were making it back to Canada. And my buddy's older, like he's going to turn 70. He's my mentor. Like he's a guy I look up to. Great guy, comes from trailer trash. Now he's worth millions and millions and millions. Like really the American dream, right? Comes from poor immigrant family and somehow made it happen. Great dude. Such a humble guy. You would never know. And every time I go see them, his wife is a very staunch Republican, you'd call her a MAGA Christian, like that. Okay. That's what she is. And having a conversation with her is like pulling teeth. And
really?
Oh yeah. So it's just that, when you're trying to.
I would have thought you and her might be on the same page on a lot of issues.
We might, but she never gives you the opportunity to finish your sentences. Like every 5 words, she's going to cut you off and make it about her emotions.
Okay.
Like her, she's the type, like she's on her phone, she's asking Google for answers. Like, what happened when this happened? And that's her opinion now. And I'm trying to make her understand. I'm like, you realize that the topics we're talking about here, I researched them for 5-6 hours a day. I've spoke to some of the biggest name in the world on certain of those subjects. Like, I have an idea of what's going on. Nothing you can say. So at one point I'm like, we're done. We're not going to move the needle. You're the wife of my best friend. That guy, I have the utmost respect for this guy. If we continue down this road, one of us is going to say something that we can't take back. So you know what? I'm done. I'm not moving the needle. This is a waste of my time. And out of respect for my friend, I'm going to cut the conversation there.
Right.
Well, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them.
And when to fold them. And one of my favorite songs is The Rich Men North of Richmond.
I love that song, man. Casey Anthony.
That guy said, I wish politicians would look after minors, not just minors,
not just minors on an island somewhere.
I was like, yo, my man. Did you just say that?
This is the guy from West Virginia that completely went viral overnight, right?
Oliver Anthony.
That guy, like
Virginia.
Oliver Anthony. That's the guy. Yeah.
Casey Anthony. Somebody else.
Yeah. He was on Rogan's podcast a couple of months ago. That was fun. That was fun to watch. Yeah.
He kind of. I kind of got a lot of respect for him. He didn't. He could have parlayed that moment into a lot of. Like he's still playing music, but he isn't going to sell out either.
No, he did. What the fuck you're talking about? That guy sold out. Oh, of course. Oh, yeah.
No. The thing is, you put on him what you wanted to see. You expected him to be a right winger because of something he's saying, but he's not that. He's not. I never said. Either.
No. He's just the average American that comes from poverty. Yeah, like West Virginia. I don't know if you ever been, but I've been.
Haven't been. No,
but it's fucking poor. Yeah, those are real hillbillies that are fucking country folks. Like they're poor as fuck.
Actually, the only rich people in West Virginia all know each other by name. The only rich people in West Virginia. There's so few of them. You know, there's actually a party at the end of the year. I went to one of those parties. It's ridiculously lavish, and I'm like, wait, we're in West Virginia. I found that the only 30 rich people.
It's pretty, but it's pretty though. Like it's really, really pretty. I really like, the look of it. It almost looks like Canada. Like the forest there is almost as nice because we have very nice nature, right? In Canada, it's from having done, I think, 28 states now, maybe a bit more. We added another 5 last week. So I haven't seen vegetation that's not as nice as Canada outside of Arizona. Because Arizona's fucked up to see 30 feet cactuses. If you've never seen that in your life, it's a fucking mind fuck. If you've never seen forests of cactuses, it's a mind fuck. You're like, what the hell is going on here?
What is this doing here?
Yeah, that's where.
And it's cool to see the borders. You know, you look at California, Arizona, Texas. It's cool to see the hills going to Mexico. Like you're literally on the highway. You're like, hey, that's Mexico. All the cowboy movies I watched growing up. This is the place that Mexicans were trying to get in, and then people that stole money tried to go to Mexico. This is where it all happened. Yeah. But what I was going to say is that Oliver Anthony, at the beginning he was saying like he didn't have an agent. He was just going to continue. He literally did that video with his fucking cell phone. Like it's amazing. Like I really like that song, but he did end up like signing with an agency. He did sign, like he did a record deal.
Did he?
Oh yeah. Fuck.
I thought that was his thing. Was he wasn't gonna do that?
Well,
it's very
was the whole purpose of playing out in the street was to find a record deal. That's the whole.
Yeah, that's not what he said at the beginning. Yeah. But at the beginning, that wasn't it. Like this was never intended to go viral, right? He's just the song's great. It hit at the perfect time, and it just went fucking.
It was
crazy.
Everywhere.
It's just at the beginning he was saying, because I was following the guy intensely because I like his story. But he was saying at the beginning, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I don't want to make money. Very easy to say until you have people like, you could make millions of dollars.
That's real hard.
And that guy's poor. Like he was fucking dirt poor. Like you're talking West Virginia. There's no, as Jason said, there's a very few that have money, and he was not one of them.
Right.
Yeah, but the reason why you see people perform on subway stations because their sole purpose, not their sole purpose, one of the purposes is to hope to get noticed, right? The playing out in public and getting listened to. One of the many deals of doing that is not just for chicken change, but to somehow get noticed. And that's what happened with him.
What's that the redheaded British guy? He started out just playing in the subways in London.
Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
Ed Sheeran.
Yep. Just a busker basically.
I don't see a problem with that, man. It's just that's what he was saying. I'm just going back to what he was saying back in the days that he wouldn't do it. But can you really blame him for doing it?
No. I, mean,
I don't think any of that.
I would actually like to see evidence that he said he would never do it. I think it's interesting that someone.
I seem to recall that's
know?
what he was saying. I don't know if he was saying he wasn't gonna sign a deal, but I think he was saying like he wasn't gonna sell out. I don't know. I don't think signing a deal is necessarily selling out. I think it depends what happens to your art after you sign that deal.
And also, what's selling out? Having an opportunity to make money and take care of your family.
Yeah, exactly. If that's selling out, then I'm gonna sell out every single day of the week, right? Like, call me sell out all you want. I'm gonna feed my kids.
But I'm gonna be real for you fuckers that never did anything for me except shit on me and walk by, can't even drop $1 or anything when I'm playing a guitar. I'm selling out to you. Yes, I sold out to y'all. Bye. Bye, Felicia. Yeah. Fuck out of here.
Cheryl, good to see you. Cheryl says hi, Rob, Nico, and Jason.
What's going on? We just for the people that are listening right now, we're gonna have a special guest joining us. His name's Chris Davey. If you're on X and you follow a bit of Canadian politics, you would have seen one of his videos. Like he went viral over the weekend. Like he has one of his videos, I think it's at 1.2 million views. He was in Ottawa, Ontario. For my American friends who don't know, that is the capital. That's the retarded equivalent of Washington, D.C. That's like the little retarded brother. And he was there. He was at a Free-Palestine protest, and he got assaulted by a protester there in front of the cops. Cops did nothing. And he's going to cut.
Shameful.
100%. And that I got to give it to him. Like I've been following Chris Davey for a while. Like Davey Media is the name of his X platform, but the dude is always in the field. Like he goes there and he's literally with his phone and he's just recording what he's doing. Like it's very cool. He's doing some reporting work. Love the guy, hate the guy, whatever, but you got to give him that he has the balls. Like he's the only guy on the side looking at Free Palestine, and they're all against him, calling him, at one point they call him by name, like he's known, right? If you have an idea, if you watch Canadian politics and you look at reporters, people know who he is. So he's going to join us in about 17 minutes, give or take. But there's a bunch of other things I wanted to talk about, like the tariffs. The tariffs are supposed to hit today. We don't know much. I got a video for you guys, but Trump is not, he said a lot of shit, but nothing has come to effect as of now. I was just looking prior to the show. We got an update from Luigi Mangione. Remember that guy?
What's your take on that, Jason?
So there's an update. Oh, don't worry, Jason. You'll have plenty of time.
Yeah, we'll get into it.
To suck his dick later.
I feel like I know. I feel like I know. But
I fucking love his face.
Let you tell it.
I wanted to talk about the Florida election results, which is funny. It shows you the biases from the left and the right. Like they gained 2 more seats, but you'll see. I got a video.
Their house,
exactly. Yeah. So the Republicans still have control of the house. Okay. But what's funny is that I have a video from the left, and then I have Scott Jennings. We all like Scott Jennings, but and the differences is amazing, right? Oh, they're making it sound on the left like it was almost a win, but it wasn't. Either way.
Did they gain?
You'll see later. No.
Okay.
This is kind of a sad story. I'm kind of sad a bit today. I've learned that Val Kilmer's dead at 65. So he died today or tomorrow. I think it was yesterday. Sorry. But yeah, I got a video. It's kind of a tribute to what he's done because I've watched a lot of his videos. It's unfortunate that in the video I'm going to show later on, my favorite movie of him is not in there.
I was gonna say, what's your favorite role that he played?
Felon. Very unknown, said B-level movie. Okay. Very. Wow. I just love the role that he plays. He's such a badass in that movie.
Yeah,
Felon's the best by far.
I liked him in Heat, the movie Heat with Al Pacino.
Yeah, that's pretty much everyone's saying either that or Doc Holliday in Tombstone.
Get out.
I'm here.
You know, Heat is good. Heat is good. He's married to a crazy bitch in that movie, and she's actually crazy in real life too. So that was pretty ironic. But Heat is good. Was a good movie.
It's a classic heist movie. I like it.
But Felon is so underrated. So underrated.
Saint too.
That movie scares the Saints, yes. But the Felon scares the shit out of me.
Yes.
Why? That movie scares the shit. It's a B-level movie with. Do you remember Blade, the first Blade?
Oh yeah. Yes.
You remember the bad guy? The bad guy in that movie, the white guy?
Yeah, I do actually.
So he's the main lead. He's the lead in Felon. I just can't remember what his name is. And he basically owns a small construction company. He's about to make it. He just receives a loan from the bank. He's going to be able to double his crew, like to have another independent crew running. So he's actually starting to make it. He's about to get married. He has a kid that's like 5-6 years old. And like everything seems to be going well in his life. He wakes up in the middle of the night. His wife is like, "Hey," he's like, "Hey, there's some noise downstairs." Blah blah blah. He goes downstairs. There's somebody in his house robbing him. So he takes a baseball bat, starts running after him. And as they're leaving the house, they're on the front lawn. The guy turns around. He kind of looks like he's grabbing for something, and he kind of half turns around. The guy smashed him, and he catches him in the head, kills him instantly. The police shows up. He gets arrested, goes to court, ends up spending like 6 or 7 years in prison, loses everything.
Does that? What?
But so as a guy that, exactly. What, you just hit him once? But as a guy that would kill for my family, I look at that movie, I'm like, because Canada's even worse than that.
Well,
like that's taken in the U.S.
cases that are similar to that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Certainly in Canada. I think in the States, I think there's especially some states that have like castle doctrines and stuff.
What kind of shitty attorney and what kind of horrible jury do you have to serve time for defending?
Yeah, I'd take my chance.
You think of but Nico, think of the tenets of self-defense. Like the tenets of self-defense is the threat imminent? The answer is yes. The guy's reaching for something that you don't know. You have no idea. You never met this person. They're in your house, right?
Yeah.
You have to. There should be no rule saying that he has to pull a gun out and then shoot the gun, and then when the bullet's like this close to your face, you're supposed to somehow dodge and defend yourself.
Yeah.
Like they have to have a better criteria for self-defense here, guys. You know,
the shitty part in that movie is that the sheriff, the guy that shows up, basically what he says is that he was no longer a threat. Like he was out of your house. You could have just stayed inside and call the police.
Right.
And this is why I strongly believe in castle law. I believe that as soon as they're on your land, they're in your space, you're allowed to do whatever. To me, bro, if you step in my house, I don't care what the government says, your life has been forfeited.
Alabama is the path, right?
Yeah. Oh fuck yeah. They don't mess around. But Alabama, you got to be careful. Everybody fucking has guns.
Yeah.
But like right now, I'm back in Canada.
I'm
I'm back in Canada. I'm in Montreal, and I know if somebody hits here, I'm fucked because I'm gonna fuck him up. I'm gonna make sure he never does it again. I will defend my family, no questions about it. And I know I'm gonna pay the price for it because here, unfortunately, there's self-defense does not exist in Canada. It is not a thing. Like I had a friend of mine, a guy I used to teach martial art when I was back in Toronto. He used to be part of the equivalent of DA office.
Yep.
And he was a lawyer. And I asked him one day, we're finishing trainings like Saturday morning, nobody else is there. And I'm just saying, man, what's the situation in Canada when it comes to self-defense? He's like, I'll print to you the criminal code. I'll bring you the criminal code, read the pages that I bring you, and then we can talk. I read it, my mouth dropped to the floor. It is 100%. It's a gray area, so it's 100%. You're 100% at the mercy of your judge. So I came back the week after, and I'm like, okay, hold on here. This is what I got. He's like, well, you got it. So it is 100% on your judge. Imagine I show up, 230 pounds, big guy, not very quiet. I look a certain way. I'm fucked. I am fucked if I get a woman's judge.
I would also like to say, Nico, I would also like to say that it's not the cop's place to say what he should have done, because if the cop was in that same situation, he has different means, right? He's 100%. Most likely armed. He has more than one gun in the house. He knows how to protect his home. So I mean, the cop saying you should have did it this way because he did it that way is legal. It's
bullshit.
Thank you.
It's let's call a spade a spade. No, it's fucking bullshit. Yeah,
I mean, Trayvon Martin.
If your family,
security guard,
if your family's at risk, you can't take a chance, right? These situations are so dynamic. You can't just assume they're gonna miss. Who knows? Maybe they hit you, and then your they're completely vulnerable to this guy, right? Like you can't, saying in the military, right? Rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6.
And you assume too that. You hear about home invasions where the guys are not there for property. They're there to rape. They're there to murder. They have violent intent. Like we assume that person's there to steal something. I assume the worst. If you're in my house, I literally think in my head, you're here to rape my wife and my children. Yeah. You, sir, are fucked. You, sir, are fucked. The amount of violence.
1% chance. Who's going to take that chance?
I don't care if they're there for morning tea.
Yeah, exactly.
You walk in my house, you walk in the Yankee Stadium. I got a bat.
Yeah.
And I'm a kid from Brooklyn. I know how to use a bat.
Yeah. It's Prairie. I don't know if you saw that, but Prairie saying that she loves Daisy Media. Yeah, he's a cool,
so
he's a cool dude. Yeah,
I never heard of him until you brought him up, but it'll be I'm interested. I think it'd be cool chat.
He was on Rebel News yesterday.
Oh yeah,
talking about this. Yeah. So he's his stuff is kind of
Jason. That means you need to be
now,
on your best behavior.
I think you'll be surprised how much.
I know. I'm just fucking with you.
Like Nico and I know I don't. Nico knows I don't like violence. If you're violent, you defeat the cause for free speech. I know.
Yeah. I think we've always agreed on that stuff. Even when we disagree on the issues, sometimes like when violence is in play, I don't think any of us have.
It hurts my argument when people are violent. I'm like, how am I supposed to argue for that? I can't argue.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good point.
And the worst part is that I went through his feed for the past week or so. I found 3 different videos at 3 different protests that he attended. 3 times that were violent. 3 completely different people. Just 2 were Free Palestines. 1 was for the LGBTQ day of whatever the fuck it was called.
Yeah, that was it. Probably UCLA. That's probably in California.
No, it's all in Ottawa. The guy's from Canada, so it's all in Ottawa. But the 3 ones, it's violence. Like there's violence in all 3. And that's one thing I wanted to talk about, because he covers a lot of the political stuff. Like he shows up in Ottawa and he talks to politicians and all that stuff. So you'll see. But he's, what? Respect, like agree with him or not. I love what he does. Like it takes balls to do what he does, knowing that people are going to call you name, knowing that the police is not there to help you, knowing that you're probably going to get in trouble for just being there because you don't agree with what's going on. So
it's sad what's going on in Canada. Like, right, the truckers protesting was 100% non-violent, right? There might have been some guys who were civilly arrested who needed to get checked. Yeah. But for the most part, why are you going to arrest those guys? Why are you going to debank these guys? And then you have these asshats on campus, right? And I sound like I'm on your side. Like I was on your side the whole time, but these asshats on campus.
Like you say, Jason, it hurts the argument, right? Like it should be people that strongly believe in that cause that should be the ones speaking out, like you are. I think all these sort of protests, whether it's the right or left, they have these elements in them, but it does seem like the right wing is able to keep them in check. The right wing arguments, at least right wing protests, at least in the past couple of years. I mean, maybe the J7, you could say that they weren't necessarily kept in check there, but it does seem like
Careful. It was proven. It's been proven now that 20 to 30 individuals were either FBI, worked for the FBI, or were FBI informers. A lot of the people that you saw instilling violence on Jan 7 has been caught being FBI agents or working for the FBI.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah. So
Ray Epps.
Jan's
Next episode, who is Ray Epps?
So
the video on that
I know.
guy. Remember the video on that guy where he's like, "We're gonna storm the Capitol," and everyone's screaming, "Fed!" like the whole crowd was going, "Fed!" I don't.
And were they actually like even at the time?
There was a guy the day before that says, "We're going to go in and we're going to break in and storm the Capitol." And the crowd was like, no. And then everyone started chanting, "Fed." And this guy, by the way, did no jail time.
Wow.
There's no record of him being
I've heard the name. I've heard the name.
And Nico, and I'm like, Nico is right. How do you not go to jail? There were people that went
Everybody
to jail
else went to jail.
even there.
Yeah.
Like there were people sentenced to jail who never mind did not go in the Capitol, but this guy is on video inciting violence and wasn't even. And the crowd and the American crowd started screaming, "Fed!"
Did you ever see the meme with Steve Buscemi, and he's like a narc in a high school, and he's like just an old dude. He's like, "How do you do, fellow kids?" That's Ray Epps. Just trying to blend in, but he's clearly a narc.
It's like, where is it? I have the video right here. Here it is. Ready?
All right, let's see it.
Americans, they're terrorists. You are. Yes, you are. Guys, you are. Guys, I'm not saying they've already given up their American rights.
It's 30 seconds.
Out there, I'm probably going to go to jail for tomorrow. We need to go into the Capitol. Into the Capitol. What?
That guy's like the assistant director of the FBI. Look at him. And he didn't do any jail
There's
time.
a video you won't see on CNN.
No, and he didn't do any jail time at all.
But I love the fact that people know, right? It's
wild.
really like I show up to high school tomorrow. I'm like, hey kids, you want drugs? I don't even know. Would you like to smoke marijuana?
Yeah. Know where I can store any drugs?
Fuck. You know exactly, right? Might as well have
my
it
name is
tattooed on my head. Like, yeah.
But you know my feelings. If you committed no violence on January 6th, you shouldn't have been in jail. For the people that were breaking windows and actually did assault cops, you know what? You want sympathy for me? It's in a dictionary between shit and syphilis. I'm not gonna fucking sympathize with anybody who committed violence or whatever, right? But I think the point Nico was trying to make was that they made it look like the entire day was completely violent. Very much like the BLM riots. It was mostly nonviolent, and it was highlighted that of course it's the media, right? So they're going to highlight something that's going to make the news, something that's going to get clicks, and they fail miserably here.
I mean, I agree with that. It's just like it should be on the on the protest leaders, because all it takes is a couple people, and it ruins the entire. Yeah. It sets the tone. Now everybody sees BLM as violent now, and
that was embarrassing. And the leaders did no. I mean, the people that were leading that, look what they did. They ended up getting rich off of that, didn't they? And that was that hurt the cause.
$1 million condos in Toronto.
That hurt the cause. Look, BLM as an idea was so strong and so supported. Kyle Rittenhouse, a lot of people don't know, was a BLM supporter. the guy that was supposedly a racist. He went there to actually. He said he was a BLM supporter, but he went there to protect someone's store.
There's Ray Epps.
Buscemi, let's go.
How do you do, fellow kids? But yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that Rittenhouse there was a BLM supporter.
Yeah, that's something else people didn't know. They called him a racist, and that he shot 3 black people. And for anyone that follows the case closely, he shot 3 white people, and one of them had a gun that was over him, and he waited as long as he could. Like I thought. When I first heard it, and Nico will appreciate this, my knee-jerk reaction is, oh, white racist, 17-year-old armed, crossing state lines, jail his mother, jail his father, jail him. But then someone showed me like a complete, as uncut a video as you can, and I'm like, that's not what the news told me.
Yeah.
And I was one of the
talking
least,
about?
like Kyle
Rittenhouse.
Rittenhouse. Kyle
Oh, yeah,
Rittenhouse
right.
as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you watch the complete video, I'm like, okay, so that's why he was found not guilty. You know,
I agree. I think that was just. If I'm his mother, I'm not letting him go. I'm not letting my fucking 17-year-old kid take a gun to a protest. So just no matter what, because it's a dynamic situation. Shit happens. Shit happens, right?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what
But
happened.
my point is, it was, if you look at the video, it was classic self-defense. He actually he had a weapon, but was running away from the people trying to assail him.
Well, they tried to grab
And when
his
he had
weapon, I
no other
believe.
choice, and when the guy was trying to shoot him, that's when he shot them. So it was, and because since we're talking about self-defense, the threat was completely imminent. And here's Nico talking about some poor guy who didn't even have a gun, who was defending his house with a bat.
Yeah.
You know, it's mad world, dude.
Well, yeah, and I mean, obviously that's the movie, but you can definitely find cases like that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because they will say it's proportionate, and like, I don't know though, man. How can you? What are you supposed to like do the math in your head with your sleeping?
Like Trayvon Martin was followed by a security guard and was able to plead stand your ground, right? I mean, this is a guy who actually followed Trayvon Martin around. It wasn't even. I don't like that. I don't think I don't think he should got off. I mean, Nico, right? We got hundreds of them. We got a woman serving jail time for firing a warning shot to her domestically abusive husband. She's in jail.
Really?
Right? This is
you should never though. That you should never. That's one thing they tell you in training: never shoot a warning shot. If you're gonna shoot to kill. Just shoot that person. Fuck it. Don't warn them. No. Do not warn people, because one of the things, we were talking about Cain Velasquez last week. And this is the type of situation where you don't know where that bullet's going. So aim for body mass. Just shoot it. Try to keep it right there. Don't try, because a warning shot, it's going to go somewhere. Right. Like, people don't think about this, right? If you shoot up, I've heard of stories where somebody actually, they don't know where the bullet came from. Somebody's sitting on their front lawn. They die. They just got shot. Right? Yeah. So it's gonna yeah, exactly. By the way,
imagine that, like, holy fuck, it's just your time to go, man. If you're just sitting there in your backyard and
or you deserve it. Either way, it's karma. It's karma.
It's karma. Somewhere along the line you did something.
I got bad news. I just got a text from Chris Davey saying that the fire department's at his house. What? Right now for a carbon monoxide leak at home. Carbon monoxide.
No way.
So he just sent me a picture of a fire truck. No hot firemen though, so I don't know. Right. No hot firemen. Sorry, ladies.
No hot firemen.
But you know what?
It is Canada, so I mean, I don't know about all that.
But you know what though? I still want to show the video.
We'll still play his vids, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I still want to show those videos.
If we can get them another day, that's cool. If not, no worries. We roll with the punches here.
Hold on, give me a second. I'll just respond to him. No worries.
Yeah.
What about tomorrow? Oops. Because I still want to show the videos, but first, let me ask you the question of the day, because it had to do with Chris Davey. Do you think that protesters should be allowed to wear masks to cover their identity?
Well, that's actually a good question. I actually think there's no reason they should. Like, if you want to wear a mask out in public, whatever, that's your right. But like, if you're gonna go to a protest, then if you're actually acting in good faith, there should be no reason for it. If you have like a doctor's fucking note or something, okay, maybe. But it just seems like it automatically ratchets tensions up pretty high in a way, especially if it's going to be the kind of protest where there's going to be counter protesters, there's going to be tensions already high. Why do that? Why needlessly ratchet tensions up?
What do you think, Jason?
I I know you don't like me making everything about race, but I find it very bizarre that when brown people are finally are the ones masking up, now we're going to raise the question. 10 days ago, there was a neo-Nazi protest in Ohio. All of these guys were armed to the teeth, and all of them were armed with AR-15s, and all of them were masked. And everybody said it's their First Amendment right. We're disgusted, but they're allowed to do that because this is the United States of America. But when they did it in an all-black community, and that was littered with Vietnam vets and Desert Storm vets, what they did to protect their children, taking them to school, was they decided to arm to the teeth and they wore a mask. And when they armed to the teeth and they wore a mask, that's when the news came in. Why are you guys?
That's bullshit.
They were like, "Why are you guys arming yourself?"
Yeah.
And one of the reporters like, "Why are you wearing a mask? You want to defend yourself. Shouldn't everybody know who you are?" And I'm like, there has to be this exception, because that guy might be protecting his family from the neo-Nazis, right? Like, what if they have a confrontation and they want retribution from a guy who's a little bit afraid because you got a bunch of fucking crazy white guys who I think were feds because they're all in shape, right? Like, what's the fucking skinhead or KKK? And they always to be fat and have double chins.
Yeah, that's the phenotype. That's the phenotype.
These guys can do fucking one-arm push-ups. They can beat everybody except Nico. So to answer your question, I say, from a social perspective, if that's how you feel, expressing your right, show your face. Don't be. I think it's cowardly to hide your face. But I just gave you guys an exception where, like, some of these guys trying to protect the community, I thought wearing a mask was necessary. So this is a very nuanced question, and I think I'd like to just punt the rest to Nico. I don't want to go all day and say nothing. So Nico, go ahead.
But that's why I asked the question, because I don't have a problem with people wearing masks. I really don't. I don't think I believe in free speech, and I believe that you should be able to hide your identity if you choose to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you deal with violence when you're masked, right? If it's a peaceful protest, even if it's a bunch of white people dressed in KKK that are absolutely racist, most of them don't even hide their heads, right? That's why I was showing the pictures. They actually they show their faces. They have the full tent on, but they show their faces, right?
Well, some of them do. The ones that don't care.
Yeah. But this is how I see it, right? So if you don't care, if you show your face, good for you. I like to know who I'm dealing with. If you don't, should there be
like aggravating? If you do commit violence while masked?
I don't need you to finish my sentences, bro.
Yes.
Should there be more consequences if you are violent because you chose to do it while hiding your face?
Fair point.
The consequence would be
what?
Put that name out there when you arrest them. The person we arrested is Jonathan O'Neill. Yes, that's his name, Jonathan O'Neill. In our reports, he lives in this neighborhood. I think the news should dox the hell out of someone that makes those choices. But with that being said, we're talking about on the campus. A campus is not a public domain, right? It's their school, their rules, which is why I think, in the beginning, I think these people hurt the free speech argument, because violence on a campus is different than protesting peacefully out on the street. So if we're talking about something that's not a public domain, whoever's on their board should establish some kind of rule saying no mask, can't do that here. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's a religious exemption. There are some people, there are a lot of good looking women hiding their face and hair, and then some of them I'm kind of glad they're hiding their face and their hair, but it's in this country, that's their right. As long as they have one ass and not two, they can wear what they want.
Yeah.
I just wonder. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I just wonder the reason behind why they're doing it. That's always what it comes down to. Because I'm not ashamed. Like, you can see my face everywhere. I'm not ashamed of my opinion. I know what it entails. I know I'll never be able to work in my domain again. The career that I've had has been gone since I decided to speak loudly about my views. My career is gone, right?
About the
exactly. So I know that I'll never go there. So I don't have a lot of pity for people that are hiding behind masks. I think they're cowards. Because
Yeah.
if you really believe in what you believe in, brother, show your face. But at the same time, I think that most of the people that do wear masks are cowards. That's why they're so violent. Because
Rob,
most of the
Rob,
time
they were-
that you see, like most of the time that you see violence in protests, they're the people that have masks. Have you noticed? It's very rarely people that are showing their faces. So you can kind of tell what their intents are. But to go back, there's just one thing you mentioned. You would like to expose them if they get caught, show their faces,
That's
say
my
who
personal
they
thing.
are.
Mugshots.
But you don't want to do that, because if you look at, for example, take an example of the school shooters. One of the reasons why they do kill or murder a bunch of people is for recognition.
Mhm.
They want to be, if you look at the psychology behind it, they feel unseen, they feel unheard, and that is kind of a way to become infamous. So I never report their name. If you look back, I will not report their names. I refuse to participate in promoting their violence. So it's a double-edged sword, right? I don't know how you deal with people wearing masks, but I don't think it should be illegal. I don't like anything that goes against free speech. I don't like it. I never like it, and I would never will.
It's a tricky question. I mean, there's definitely some nuance. As you said, lots of people, it seems most of the people that involved in violence are masked. So if you want to, I think it's an okay solution to say, okay, you're allowed to mask. However, if you're going to commit violence, there's going to be an aggravating charge slapped on. Personally, I'm completely okay with saying, here's your legal permit to protest. One of the conditions for that is none of you can be masked. I like that as a solution, but
and you give up certain rights when you're arrested, right? They're allowed to take
Yeah.
your belt and your shoes. I don't think taking a mask is a far reach from that.
Yeah.
You want to take some comments, man?
Rob, why would they wear a mask though? As you're taking comments, I meant to ask you that.
Well, yeah, that's kind of like, I mean, why would you? You know what I mean? I guess there's a couple innocent, like if you're genuinely worried about contagion, or there are people out there, of course,
because they're ugly.
But yeah, is that? I don't know. I just think for me, it's kind of a low hanging fruit. It's a choke point, right? If, as Nico said, most of the people committing violence are masked. I believe it's the mask that emboldens a lot of these people. Without that mask, they likely would not all be committing as much violence. Prairie says, I totally believe years ago when they showed us pictures of all the people in China wearing masks, it wasn't because of pollution. It was because they were being monitored everywhere. China's completely different. Like, I would be masked the fuck off. If you know how, like, that social credit score system, you jaywalk at 2 a.m., completely empty streets, and they'll snap a picture of your face and dock you your social credit score. That's scary shit, man.
Although, to address what she said, in Montreal, where there's a massive Asian population, same thing in Toronto, they still wore the mask. I don't think it had anything to do. Yeah, it's like I think they're so close, because if you think about Hong Kong, the density is so big. And my ex went there and she said it was the nastiest thing. And she's traveled all over the world. She said it was by far the nastiest place she's ever been to. It's so polluted, it's so disgusting. Like, people have no manner. And I'm sorry for the Chinese people. I can put her name in the comments if you want to go heckle her or something. I'm just kidding.
But you're talking about an environment. Yeah, you're talking about an environment like an
so they do it here too.
Interesting.
They do it here just out of habit, I would imagine. And maybe they're ugly. I always go back to the ugliness.
That place, man, I don't know how they make it so beautiful, like, considering how big it is and how densely populated it is, but that place is like a model big city.
Yeah. Well, they did a Demolition Man. You ever see the movie Demolition Man? Where Stallone wound up in the future, and they're like, well, salt is banned, and he's like, are you shitting me? And it's like, you're fined one credit for
that's exactly what it is.
Of the verbal morality code.
And that's exactly where they're going with it. Yeah, murder, death, kill. What do we do? I don't know. It's never happened.
And the song Armored Hot Dogs. Oh, it's my favorite song. Oh, hot dog. Back in the freezer.
Prairie continues, and they wanted to create privacy for themselves. Now they don't wear masks as they're using eye scans. I'm sure that's also a part of it. And she's saying with the protest question, arrest for the crime of violence, not the mask, and then if they're masked, add an aggravating. Yeah, I think that's a fine.
And then you got to Scooby Doo him. The mask comes off.
Yeah.
It's Nico
Nice.
LeBron. I would have got
Hey.
away with it if it weren't for you meddling kids.
Yeah, it's the director of the FBI.
Let me make you guys feel old. Demolition Man was recorded in 1993.
Yep.
It was based in 1996 at the beginning, and their future 2032.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, for everyone at home, that's Sylvester Stallone. It's Wesley Snipes, a
That's a
very
great
young
movie.
Sandra Bullock. Dennis Leary was
Yeah,
the
yeah.
rebel.
Sandra Bullock was hot in that.
Oh
movie.
yeah.
I am so not a fan of that woman, but back then,
I had a big crush
God
on
damn.
her.
Yeah, we like Goody Two Shoes.
From
too.
what
That
was
was her
Speed?
character in the movie, too.
Speed was the one that I really liked her in.
Oh, Speed, yeah.
No, that one even better because it's all like they were wearing the Lululemon before the Lululemon that was part of her police officer uniform. She was just hot in that movie.
Yeah.
You know, when she in Speed, when she hit the shopping cart, or like the baby carriage, right? Or the stroller,
Yeah,
she thought she hit a baby and it was cans, right? So they said they did that on one take because Keanu Reeves was like, no, it was just cans. But the way she was crying, Keanu was laughing, and they were trying to do the scene when he was like, he was supposed to be serious. No, it was just cans, but he's like, no, it was cans.
Yeah, that's really funny. She didn't know. What did they spring it?
No,
on
but
her?
the scene that she had to play it dramatically that she thought she killed a baby, and Nico, not Nico, but Keanu was supposed to shake her and say, no, it was cans, but he couldn't stop laughing. So they kept doing the takeover like it was cans. So they're like, you know what, just leave it in.
Just leave it in. It's all good.
But I'm a fan of Keanu Reeves though.
Me too.
I think everybody is, eh? He's sort of like
him and Denzel Washington,
That's it.
my two favorite actors.
Those
Absolutely
two, yep.
love those two guys. Everybody else could stop making movies, I'd still be happy.
You know how
Those
many
two guys.
you see a Keanu Reeves? He rides. First of all, he doesn't
Yeah,
take cabs. He rides a New York City train station.
yeah,
And
and he looks like a hobo.
Everybody else.
He looks like a hobo.
I've seen pictures of like pregnant women and old women. He just gets up, he gives a seat to them, or like someone's trying to get on the train, he helps them on, and all of these people, I guess, who were following him around, who know who he is, because he flies under the radar. Just these ridiculously Samaritan acts by a rock
He
star.
seems like a genuinely good guy in an industry where there aren't really that many.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
the key is not to live in LA. Like if you want to be an actor
Yeah.
and stay real and keep your sanity, stay in New York with the real crazy people.
But he's still a leftist. Like he's still mostly left, but he never lets his opinion. You need to dig if you want to see.
Yeah,
what
he
stands
doesn't. I
for.
don't think he comes off as
But-
preachy.
And Denzel, you have no idea.
No,
Denzel, no one. He doesn't talk about politics. Period. And that's the one thing I liked about him. He's like, I'm here.
but he's a Christian, right?
Huh?
But he's a Christian, so you have an idea.
Yeah,
Plus, he just got. I don't know if you saw that, but he became a minister about 2 months ago.
Well, black evangelicals in the United States are not Republican. White evangelicals are. Black evangelicals, the Black Caucus, Clyburn, all of those guys, all of those.
But that explains why I like him. Why I've always liked him, because I'm not a Republican either, right? I just follow the Bible. So if that's what he does, I'm like, it makes sense because the way he talks is exactly that. But I like those two guys because, as you said, even though they might be left, they might be right, it doesn't really matter because they're not preaching. They're not their career's their career. It's not their political opinions.
Yeah, and we don't think of Keanu the leftist or Denzel.
No,
right?
Because he doesn't really talk.
We think of them as entities above politics, right?
Yeah.
And I respect that.
And
like
it's like
Gervais said.
it's like it's not even possible. It's like so like it's like seeing some rare bird out in the wild. Like, whoa, a celebrity who's not partisan. You know what I mean? It's so unusual because it's so expected that and usually they're leftists or liberals.
Right.
And I think when they're not speaking out very loud, you can maybe make the assumption that they're probably conservatives or right wing.
Nico, I'd like to land I'd like to land with this. Ricky Gervais said, "If you get he says, Hollywood is in no position to tell everybody else how to live their lives and what is right is wrong. So the next person that wins their award, come up here, thank your God,
Shut the fuck
take
up.
your agent, and fuck off." He said that at the Golden Globes. It was like he's never been invited back, but he's like, I'm gonna go.
I like that guy too, actually.
Take your God and piss off. Wow.
But that was the relaxed part of that speech, because afterwards he starts ripping into people for being friends with Epstein, and you see guys like Tom Hanks like,
oh, there was a lot of discomfort.
He's calling them out like, we all know that you're friend with Epstein, so fuck off. Ricky Gervais is.
Yeah, it was awkward in that room for sure.
They were like hookers in church, dude. It was yeah.
So let's start with the first video. We're 50 minutes in. We haven't played one, so super fast. Today's Liberation Day, April 2nd. Trump declares April 2nd as Liberation Day. What the fuck does that mean? This is what it means. Come on, video.
Tonight, business owners and other people across the country are preparing for the next hit from President Trump's tariffs.
The announcement expected tomorrow could cause a trade war with our closest allies, as Julie Sirkin reports.
Because they know I don't play games.
On the eve of what he calls Liberation Day, President Trump is getting ready to unveil his new plan for tariffs. Taxes on imported goods on every country.
Whatever they charge us, we charge them, but we're being nicer than they were.
While the president says he has a plan, the size and scope are a mystery, and the uncertainty could lead to higher prices for most U.S. industries. But a majority of Republican lawmakers are standing with Trump.
Most of the I represent agricultural business, so most of the concern is actually retaliation against the export of American agricultural products. I have some concern, but look, I think the president's broadly doing the right thing.
The president's a business person.
Many businesses, though, already feeling squeezed by tariffs imposed last month. From the cost of cars to the price of wedding gowns, you may even have to dig deeper to say yes to the perfect dress.
Some designers have already sent us tariff costs, and some have decided to hold off on that.
And as markets react to the tariff impact, workers brace for more cuts across the federal government, this time at Health and Human Services, including the Centers for Disease Control and the Food and Drug Administration. Employees stood in line for hours outside this HHS building in Maryland, only to find out they no longer have jobs when their security badges didn't work. It's part of HHS Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr.'s push to reshape the public health infrastructure.
I rise tonight because I believe sincerely that our country is in crisis.
Meanwhile, Democrat Cory Booker taking a literal stand on the Senate floor. He began speaking Monday night just after 7 p.m. and continued well into Tuesday, shining a spotlight on what he calls a grave and urgent threat from the president's actions. In Washington, Julie Sirkin, NBC News.
You know, there's nothing like a bunch of liberal Democrats crying a mere fucking river for destroying taking advantage. Exactly. For 20 years now, they've been corrupt as fuck. You got a guy that comes in, love him or hate Trump, that's trying to make it better. Love or hate RFK, they seem to be trying to make it better. And now they're crying, we're not getting paid anymore. You know what? Boo-hoo. Boo fucking who. But
with the stuff like that, it's just like motherfucker, elections have consequences. Did you think you were going to like all the things that Trump's going to do? Of course not. Nope. Do you think all the conservatives and right wingers liked everything Biden did or anything Biden did? Of course not. Like, if you don't like it, do better. You know, fucking win elections, hit people with a message that they can get behind, and then you can do whatever you want. Like, most of what I see is like just liberals being butthurt because the Republicans are doing Republican things. This is what Republicans do. They cut money, and do they cut too deep? Probably. I suspect they're probably going to go a little too far, but that is what they do.
Don't forget they're Democrats. Don't forget RFK is the Democrat. Don't forget that Elon Musk is a Democrat too, and even Trump's not a Republican when you consider.
He isn't.
As much as they represent the Republicans, they're not really Republicans. But you're right. I think they're just butthurt.
Well, yeah, it's just mostly complaints about the things you don't like, but of course you don't like them. This is the other side, just like they wouldn't like it if the things that Kamala did if she was elected. So just do better, win elections, stop fucking whining. Jason, I saw when Booker came up, you did what was your take on that?
Does he look like a crazy?
I'm glad you said that because you allow me. He does look, yes, that Uncle Fester on.
Yeah, you know why he went for 24
performance
hours?
enhancing drugs, right? If Uncle Fester worked out. Sorry, go ahead.
You know what? People, I'm not going to say anything, but people are like, I can't believe he went for almost 24 hours. Cocaine's hell of a drug.
Yeah.
What do you think about him?
I'd like to start with Booker. Booker, and this is because I watch more of the hearings, the Senate, the Senate and House committee hearings more than I watch the news, right? Mm-hmm. I get my news from socialists because they're always right, but they're always judgy as fuck. So I get my news and run away. But Cory Booker was one of the people where there was a bill that was proposed to bring cheaper medications from Canada, like Lipitor, like Norvasc, cholesterol meds, blood pressure meds that we were getting from Canada at a significantly cheaper price. The Senate voted overwhelmingly against it, and one of the people that voted against it was Cory Booker. So this is the guy who's pretending that we, everything's too expensive, everything should be cheaper. But when he had a chance to do something for his community and in New Jersey and people that and quite frankly, I'm not a drug guy. Like I'm healthy because I substitute foods for these medications. You know what I'm saying? Like if to lower my blood pressure, I'm gonna have garlic in my pizza. Yeah. So but anyway, yeah, that's why I did this. I was like, yeah, this is the guy who pretends he cares when everyone's watching, but when it comes to actually how he votes are two different things. My question to you guys is this, and I'll leave you with this. My question is twofold. One, don't these countries have tariffs on us? And two, why is it okay for them to have tariffs on us and we can't have tariffs on them? Donald Trump, when he ran, said we're being abused by all these countries and I hate it and it stops now. And I didn't know what he was talking about. And I kind of get where he's coming from. And I'm not saying that this strategy is going to work, but I guess I'm going to punt you. You guys are more up on the tires than I am, but it can't stay the same. And I think that was the point that Trump was trying to make.
I think I think you're right. Like Trump's always going to have a little bit of a paranoia, like they're all out to get him or all out to get me. But I forget who said it. Might even be Mark Twain who said it. Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you. And I think some of the things that he said, like it's some of the things he said, you're like, yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, America kind of is being taken advantage of. Like you said, there's a lot of tariffs that a lot of countries put on America. So why is that okay? I read, I think it was just yesterday, it was Israel is providing the new model because they removed all of their tariffs on America. And I was like, okay, well, that actually seems kind of fair, right? Like if you don't want tariffs on your country, don't put them on theirs. And to me, that seems, quid pro quo. That seems like an easy fix. If that's all it takes to do it, then our leaders should be on that right away.
Especially countries that were giving $28 billion a year for nothing. Just for being our allies. So I'm glad for once Israel is acting like an ally. They shouldn't be taken from us as we continue to give from them. That's what
Israel exists.
That was what Donald Trump was talking about. We're giving away everything, and no one's giving us shit in return. And I got to be on his side on that again.
And it's hard for me to disagree with him too. So. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, we don't have much. Like that video talked about multiple things, but one of the things it talked about is the tariffs, but there's not much. Like I haven't seen, they were supposed to come in effect last night. I could not find any news update. So no, but I was reading an article this morning. I should have kept it that they were, it was a very short article, but they were basically saying that Trump didn't really have a choice but to back down from his tariffs. So we'll see what happens. With specific countries, because at the end of the day, some of the tariffs will hurt Americans.
There's definitely going to be some pressure behind the scenes from big business in America, like powerful people in America. But everyone's got their own interests, right? I guess as leader, it's his job to weigh those interests versus America's. And we'll see how that goes. But yeah, like you said, Jason, it is hard, a little bit hard for us to complain about how unfair it is when we literally doing the exact same thing.
But at the same time,
And no one's talking about that, Nico. Like no one's talking about us getting tariffed to death by everybody else. Why is it news when we're doing it? I don't. What is going on here? What am I missing? I'm not the expert.
I can tell you why. Because you guys have been soft as fuck on foreign nations for years. You've been the ones that helps everybody else with foreign aids. You are always being taken advantage of, and Canada's taken advantage of the US for years. We don't have a military. Why is that? Because the Americans tend to protect us. We are protected by par la bande, comme on dit, like we say in French, like we're protected by association. So a lot of countries have taken advantage of the US, and Trump is just, fuck it, I'm done. I'm not here to be politically correct. And he's a business guy, right? At the end of the day, he's just here to do what's best for his country, and that's what he believes is best. I don't like it, obviously, because it's my family is going to pay for it. But at the same time, am I mad at him? No. Like, I get it. I fully understand. But again,
if it's business,
it was supposed to be today. Right. It was supposed to be today, and I still I could not find an update. So to me, I've said it before, just like what he said with Gaza, just like he said with the tariffs, I thought he was playing his game. He was just, like, he's going to ask for he's going to be outrageous so that people are like, oh no, what the fuck?
He loves that shit. I'm going to run for a third term. He loves that shit. But I'm going to run for a third term. I see you guys talking about that yesterday. I'm like,
but Rob said it, right?
His life, dude.
He's a master troll. I'm a troll, but he's like, there's levels to this game, and that dude's a master troll.
But he also helped us understand that these are government operations, but it's also business, right? 100%. Like someone came up to me and is like, well, we promised to take care of Ukraine in 1994 if they gave up their weapons. And I'm like, it is 2025, right? Mm-hmm. Offers have expiration dates. There's and the difference between government and business is government, they think you're supposed to do it residually until the end of time, and business has expiration dates, right? Yes, Bob, if I said, hey, I got a car, I want to sell you for $10,000, you can't come back 2 months after and say, I want to buy that car after I already sold it, right? The offers have an expiration date, and I don't know. Trump's trying not to make I saw your guys' show yesterday about the third term, and I didn't think about the troll as much as I thought about, wait a second, that means Obama gets to run a third time.
Well, yeah, you brought that comment up.
By that rationale, that would be the biggest one-sided ass whooping, because
I think Obama would actually win. I think he would
by a lot. Yeah, it's
just because
Trump is preyed on a fucking guy on a dementia drumstick, a crooked chick, and the girl that doesn't know if she's black or white, right? She do the Michael Jackson video.
Well, and part of politics is just change, right? That's why it's so hard to like win for a party to.
Obama would have 8 debates with him. He ain't hiding. Obama would say yes to not 1, not 2, not 3, but 8 debates, and he'd wipe the floor with him. Everyone knows it. No matter, even the biggest MAGA supporter would be like, "Holy shit!"
The debate I'd like to see, or the race I'd like to see, would be J.D. Vance against Obama, because J.D. Vance is a different animal than Trump. Like what he's been showing me. Like I like psychology, and I look at the way he's improved his speech. He would be. He would be
sharp. Yeah.
But give him another 3. Give him another 3 years and 10 months. See how fast how he develops, right? So we'll see. But
I'm not going to learn jiu-jitsu for 6 months and spar with a black belt. I'm gonna get my ass kicked like Vance will get his ass kicked by Obama.
Yeah.
I'm politically, I'm not, I've been very fair with the left and right thing here, but my political lens, he beat a fucking war hero.
I think
he beat
Obama would
Mitt Romney. He beat Hillary in a primary when it was her turn. You guys have, the man has a light behind him.
No, I get it, but I don't think he.
Vance don't have
but he's not that guy anymore. But he's not that guy anymore, man.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
Just look at the speeches. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because there's other things I want to talk about. But you just saw the speech that he was given trying to help Kamala Harris during her campaign, and it was just brutal. As a guy, I don't like Obama. I don't like him. He's full of
Yeah.
shit. But one thing I cannot get away from him. Same
Me
thing for
neither.
Bill Clinton.
Yep.
They are great orators. I saw
Right.
Bill Clinton live in like a 300 people audience. I got a private show
Yeah.
of this guy. I would have sucked his dick knowing that he fucking sucks. Like
Yeah.
he was just so, I understand why he was
Like,
so good.
just
I get it.
charismatic.
Nico, you know who
dislike-
shit on the show? These two people just wrote a book called "Fight Inside the Wildest Battle for the White House," and they exposed everything. Like Obama did not want Harris to be president. They have behind the scenes interviews, and Obama wanted an open primary. He didn't want election by selection. He's
That's
like,
what it
God,
should
we
be.
should have an
That's what
open
it should be.
primary and
But-
have the delegates decide. You know, and
All-
he did not. The
all
reason
I'm
why
s-
you got that bad speech
No, no,
is
but-
because he didn't want her.
No, but there was a bunch of different ones. It's just one of the things that happened to Obama too, he grew old. Like, do you remember what he looked before his
He
8
looked like
years? And
Morgan
after the
Freeman.
8, he's like, God damn, bro, you went from the young politician to like
black hair, like black
Oh,
hair.
Yeah.
it was rough.
Freeman.
His presidency was rough.
Yeah, it was hard. It took a lot out of him.
Yeah.
The presidency will do
That's-
that.
But
Trump
yeah,
is the
yeah.
only guy that Trump is the only guy that looks the same.
He looks younger now than I remember him
Yeah.
being in 2017,
carried away,
2018.
Yeah, it's funny, but yeah, Obama, it was rough on Obama.
But this is about Biden, about his decline and them hiding it.
Yeah.
This is a great book, and I'll give you the authors after. It's called "Fight Inside the Wildest Battle for the White House." There's some Game of Thrones shit happening in the background, dude.
That's actually
Yeah,
pretty
but at the
interesting.
same
I like to
but
read that.
at the same time, I saw all of this play live. I don't need to read a book to know that
No.
they knew that they played the game. But this is a great book for the lefties out there that were surprised when Kamala Harris.
They
took
were
over.
lied to by their own people, and
Of course.
that's the cool thing about the book. I mean, righties don't need it because righties knew this
Yeah.
when they
Who
saw
saw
the
that
debate in
coming?
2019. Remember the for the 2020 primary? A lot of they were telling Biden to get out of the race then, but when Bernie started winning, they changed the primary from Iowa to South Carolina, where you know the Black Caucus is there, and shazam, he says, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. All of a sudden, there's this, just like Harris. Remember Harris, her
Yeah,
nomination? All of a sudden, we went from like a
But,
country that
hey,
disliked this woman to like
Listen,
she was
Let-
there
let's
the
cut
whole
it.
time. I'm like, whoa.
this is a rabbit hole I don't want to go down. We're going to be here 35 minutes, and I'm going to talk about how Biden went to a black family with fried chicken and said that if they didn't vote for him, they weren't black. I'm like, hey, motherfucker, you.
Did he actually?
No,
No, he didn't.
yeah. No, I swear
No.
to you, motherfucker.
Fried chicken.
That's
my
why
God.
I don't want to go down that road because of that.
No,
Fried
I mean,
chicken.
if I were running for president, I have Vaseline from my gay party. Got a present for you guys.
That's wild, man. That is
What,
wild.
I mean,
Joe
what
Biden-
next? Grape drink? What next? Like now
Yeah,
and later,
yeah.
grape drink
Grape-
and
Grape
bazookas and
soda,
shit.
yeah.
Damn, you fucking
Was
stereotype.
the Dave Chappelle.
And
I
the
know what
worst
you
part
drink.
is that
Grape drink. Surprise.
it's
Didn't think I knew about juice,
you know,
did you?
the video is so bad that it looks like it's a skit. Like you look at that and you're like, there's no way
Is this the fried
this is
chicken
real.
one?
Like no, yeah, I have it. Hold on, because
Okay,
this
let's
is
do
why
that.
I did not want to go down that fucking rabbit hole.
But since
because
we're
I-
here,
We'll just do this.
I think that one did. That's awesome.
he showed up to a black family with fried
Carter for
fucking
his
chicken.
ex's day, but I needed his advice, so we had lunch
Like,
together.
look right there. Look, hold on.
we got to subtitle
You
this
s-
shit.
You see it on the table, like it's fucking fried chicken, like right there. Like, come
in
on.
styrofoam. It's chicken and waffles, man.
No, oh yeah, of course, because that black family does not have utensils and proper plate, right?
Actually,
Come
I do
on,
remember.
like-
I do remember seeing this movie or this clip a couple of years back. Yeah,
but it's
fuck,
not a
man.
couple years
At least
back.
he
It's
signed
when
his own
it's
name.
when
At
he
least he had
ran.
auto pen. You know, let's look on the bright side. There was no auto pen there.
Yeah. He could still sign his own name.
But this is not. This is what just before the campaign or during the campaign that he did this. This was a media skit. Like, hey, I'm gonna be appealing to the black folks out there.
I'll get the black to vote for
It even
me.
had the music. It even had the skit music. It was so, yeah. You're right. It was like surrealism. The Nico was like, he thought it was Groundhog Day when he saw that shit.
Like, am I high again? Like, what the fuck did I do last night? Let's do some. I want to show you guys the videos. So since Chris Davey is not gonna be there,
okay.
At least I'm gonna try. I'm gonna for sure try to rebook him. But I want to show you guys these videos. So because there's 3 of them. If you haven't seen them, they're interesting. They're definitely interesting. But there's 3 of them. Here's the video. So this is put it into context. Chris Davey is an independent reporter that does a lot of the politics. Like he's going to be in Ottawa tomorrow, and as I think it was Prairie saying, he's going to be looking at the lynch.
Tamara Lynch.
Exactly, he's going to
Which
be.
one is
and
that
that's
again?
what he. That's what he's going to tell me. That's what he was telling me earlier. You know what? We should restream it. If he does a live stream, I think I'm going to restream it. I'm going to try to remember that. But here he is in Ottawa, Ontario, at a Free-Palestine protest over the weekend. This is the first video, and look at how he's assaulted by a Free-Palestine protesters. The Ottawa police is right there, and they victim blame him. Like, not only do they protect the protester, but they kind of make it sound that was, oh, it's your fault for being here. Like, it is the weirdest thing. So look at this video, and I want to see what you guys think.
I just was assaulted here. Are you going to do something about the assault? Who assaulted me? I was just assaulted. You saw 2798. He didn't do his job. You're going to worry about me, or you're going to worry about the people assaulting me? We're going to let those assaults go today? Dude, I just got assaulted. Did you see my phone? So I've been assaulted. None of these officers will help me. They won't help me. He witnessed it. Liaisons won't help me. They witnessed it. Will any of you officers help me? I was just assaulted by this mob. I did. They're ignoring me.
Mark, no. He didn't do his job. He's not detaining the guy.
Will any of you officers acknowledge me? I've been assaulted. This officer witnessed it, ignored it. All of these officers are completely ignoring the assault. Will any of you police help? I'm asking for assistance. I've been assaulted. I have been assaulted. Can somebody assist me? I have been assaulted. Can you assist me? I have been assaulted. Can you assist me? I've been assaulted.
You know, that guy's ballsy. Love him or hate him, he's taking their names. He's fucking flashing the cell phone in their faces. But look at this. The guy literally, did you hear what he said? The protester is like, get off the fucking street, go back to the...
Go back. Yeah. Go to the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Okay.
The guy said, like, go back to the sidewalk and smacked the cell phone out of his hand. That's assault. He touched him. That's assault. 100%. That's... It was not an accident. Let's be honest here. And did you notice? Mask once again. So I would have liked to have Chris Davey talk about it, but they're looking for who he is. He knows who he is. Like, he found it. Somebody actually, he posted that face everywhere and people recognize who that guy was. I'm not going to put his name out there because, again, I don't condone. I'm not going to give him the satisfaction. But at the same time, it hasn't been proven, and that's how you get in trouble, by putting a name out there that's not necessarily the right one. But all to say that it's interesting to see the police officers. There are like 8 of them right there. And you had some black ones, you had some brown ones, you had some white ones, you had some males, you had some females, yet zero. Zero of them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. You got to at least investigate that. You got to at least go talk to the other guy. You can't Like, and then they're going to be shocked when people start fighting back. Like, this is how you have to diffuse this shit, like, immediately when you see it. Doesn't mean you don't need to go arrest the guy. Fucking talk to him. Like, they didn't even talk to him. You go up to a cop and you say, I was just assaulted, and they ignore you. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, the reason they didn't talk to him is because they saw it. They knew it happened. I mean, you can't hit people, right? You can't put your hands on people. That's just, you can't do it. Do I think that was an egregious assault? No. But like, I guarantee you.
Thank you. Before I got started, but go ahead.
I mean, I guarantee you, if the other thing, if it was him that did the same thing to them, they'd have 8 cops on him with his hands behind the back. People don't like unfair 2-tier policing. Just fucking enforce the law. I don't see what's so hard about that.
Jason, go for it.
When you guys said assault and when you guys said violence or whatever, I was bracing myself and I was preparing myself for something that was a little bit more heightened than this, guys. Okay. Now, if you saw a punch thrown, I get that. Him telling someone to go back to the sidewalk is stupid because as a citizen, I don't know about Canada, you should be able to stand wherever you want. But I have seen many instances where there are protests or there are people or like celebrities where someone's trying to get a close up. And someone takes their hand and says, get the fuck out of my face. And that's considered assault. Got it. And now that we have a clear distinction on what violence it was and the level of violence, I will say this. He's in the wrong country. If he were in America, we know how to take care of brown people that commit that supposed violence. Canada, they let it go. In America, I'm telling you, this is a different country on how we treat people a few shades darker. So I'm just gonna have that humorous perspective from it. But the guy has every right to be upset. I don't care if it's his iPhone. I don't care if it's like this expensive $10,000 camera. The reason why people don't push cameramen out of the way is because they're scared of not assaults, but lawsuits, right? So there's a perspective on what level of violence, so it's accepted. But at the same time, if you put your hands on someone, I gotta agree with you. I'm just relieved that it wasn't like this. Like, yeah, it's not 30 people surrounding him and doing like a fucking NWO, like Hulk Hogan and Kevin Nash and Scott Hall beat down on Sting or some shit. You know, like, oh, like a pack of dogs. You know, so it is considered assault. And I don't like the way.
I don't even think the guy should be dragged off and handcuffed.
But at the same time, I'm just like, thank the Lord.
No, he should. No, wrong. Yeah. Absolutely not. Because we all know. Let's be honest here.
Who's wrong?
If I did that, I'd be in trouble. If you had a brown guy on the side of the street recording my Christian walk, and I looked at him and I told him to get the fuck to go back to the sidewalk and smacked his phone in front of cops, the phone wouldn't have even hit the floor. I would have been in handcuff arrested. Let's call the bullshit. It's assault. No matter what, it's assault. If I do that to a woman, it's assault. Just the fact that a guy Free-Palestine protesting did it to another guy, it's acceptable because he's part of the protest. And you know what? There was 8 different police officers right there.
Right.
Like, this is the thing. So, you know,
but Nico, you just said you would have done the same thing. You just said right now on this show, you would have done the same thing. If someone had a camera that close to your face, you would have smacked it out of his hand. You just said that.
I never said that. No, I didn't. I gave you an example.
Oh, you gave me a hypothetical. Got you.
Yeah, of course. I don't put my. Are you fucking kidding me, bro? I don't put my hands on people. I don't.
But I don't know if someone's in my way and someone has a camera, like.
But he wasn't in his way. Did you not see?
And I tell him back the fuck off. I won't tell him go to the sidewalk, but I'm like, please get that camera out my face. And he thinks it's his right to do that. I might do this. I might smack it out of his hand too and wind up with assault charges.
No, but hold on. I'm gonna mute this.
No. Look, do it again.
No. But look, the guy goes out of his way to come see the guy.
I want to see it again.
Yeah, let's see.
Like, he literally comes into his face. Like, that dude just
go back again. See where the yellow line is in the middle of the street and see how far he veers from the yellow line. And then we'll know if he's still marching straight.
And this is him right here. He's walking right towards him. He's
walking towards him. Like, look at that. He took steps towards him. No, that is not.
He took steps up the street. Look where the yellow line is, guys. Are we seeing two different things? Look where the middle of the street is, and look where he is.
This is where he was, right? He's in the middle.
So he's right there.
Call a spade. He's in the middle. Look at that. Even there, he's walking towards
I
him.
see a
Look
little
at that.
veer. I see a little veer.
But
I mean, you
but
guys
that's
are
my
making it
point.
look all over dramatic and shit. I see a little bit.
No,
of
but
a
it does. It does not matter. Even if it's 2 steps, it don't matter, because if I did that, I'd be in trouble. I'm always going to go back to the common sense. If I did this, I'd be in trouble. No questions about it. This is the bullshit of this. But
I don't disagree with the assault. I'm just exhaling that.
No, but
don't gnarly.
No, but don't downplay it. Don't downplay those, because that's how it starts. If he's capable of assaulting someone in front of 8 police, 7 or 8, I didn't count them, but at least there was at least 6 or 7 there. If you're able to do that right in front of police officers and there's no consequences, you don't think that it's going to escalate and escalate and escalate? That's always what happens. When you get away with shit, it's like a child, right? When they get away with something, they're always going to test the boundaries. So what's the next step? But that's what I'm saying. This type of shit needs to stop. You want to protest? No problem. You want to protest with a coward with a mask in your face? No problem. You're allowed to. But you put your hands on someone. If I was the guy just holding a cell phone, he would have put that. Right. I was able to knock him out. It was legal for me to knock him out because he put his hands on me. I could have said I felt threatened, blocked the shot. His nose is broken. And that little kid, he's a little midget. Like he would have went flying by a punch. But what I'm saying is that you open the door to assault, that self-defense. I'm allowed in Canada to defend myself.
I like the perception. Sorry, go ahead. Rob, and I want to give this to Rob because I want his opinion on this. I do like Nico's assertion of something we call police preventive maintenance, right? Yeah. You see something, it got a little physical, and the cop should be like, you know what? So far, it's been peaceful. It's been loud. It's civil unrest. And again, I don't know Canadian politics about civil unrest and being loud and disturbing the peace, because that's called free speech here.
I think the protest itself is fine.
But I think Nico's right in terms of preventive maintenance, right? Because once you see that, I think the cops should be like, yo, we let everybody know on both ends of this thing that nobody's touching, do not touch each other. Right? Like the cops said, the cops made a clear message to the protesters and the photographers, do not touch each other. I call that preventive maintenance before, like Nico said, it turns into something worse.
Yeah, like a home plate umpire when a pitch goes high and inside, they can tell tensions are rising, right? You give the warning to both sides, and
there it is.
But I think,
but if you hit him with a pitch, he got to go.
Yeah, like perception becomes reality, and if the perception is that there's unfair policing, that like the cops' job is not to act as bodyguards for these people. It is to keep the peace, and that means they have to be neutral. They have to, like I said, me and Nico disagree on this. I don't think he needed to be dragged off in handcuffs, but you got to take the complaint seriously. A cop should have went over there and shoot him the fuck out. Or send them the fuck home. If you don't leave here right now, I will arrest you. Yeah, and that's fine. You can disagree. If the point is,
it has nothing to do with disagreeing. But as per the law, if somebody assaults me and I press charges, if I go to the police, he's right there. I press charges against that guy. They would arrest him now. This is the part that's bullshit. If I did that to somebody else, and somebody would say that guy assaulted me, I press charges, they need to arrest him. Yet they just let the guy, literally the guys had their hands in their pockets and just they were turning their backs and not doing anything. That's the double standard. That's bullshit, because he is clearly saying, I was assaulted. Will you guys do something?
Well, yeah. I mean, they have to at least investigate. They have to fucking talk to him, talk to the other guy, and do something.
So
Tony agrees.
He should have been arrested, pulled over, and then have a conversation downtown. That's just plain and simple. Because right now,
it was one incident, one guy. Let's get him.
And that doesn't mean cancel the whole protest and blah blah. No, I'm just saying you take that guy away and you go take the complaint downtown. Because at the end of the day, if Chris Davey is smart, I would get a fucking lawyer on that case, and I would fucking sue the Ottawa police for not protecting me after I was assaulted and I asked them to do something, because that is technically they didn't follow the law. They're fucked. Like, if he's smart, I would fucking go after them and make them look silly, because it's bullshit and something needs to be done before this type of shit escalates.
Yep. Tony G says, regardless of assault or not, it's still a double standard. Are those cops that woke or are they living in fear? So, I mean, that's it. Like,
that's a good question.
people have to feel like the law is being applied without fear or favor, right? That's the thing. And even if it's just the perception, that is the perception, and perception will eventually become reality if you don't do something about it. I don't know why. Like, yeah, I think that's probably what they should have done, Nico. They probably should have taken him downtown. Maybe they
100%.
maybe they don't press charges. You scared, maybe you do.
But it's not up to him. But it's not up to him. It's up to the victim to say, you have to I will press charges.
Yeah,
it's not up to the person.
That's right. The cops have to take the complaint seriously, and they clearly didn't.
Right.
No,
well,
and
go ahead, Nico.
No, go ahead, Justin. No, go ahead.
Police, I'm speaking in terms of the USA, police are what Officer McNulty from the HBO drama The Wire said, we are the ultimate dictators. We are he said the foot patrol police are something what we call the ultimate dictators. We decide, like we see it like a fight in the street, we decided we arrest them both, or we decided we de-escalated it and make sure everyone's okay and everyone walks away. But what Nico said was something that goes beyond that dictatorial process. If someone says, I want to press charges, the police has to at least give it its due attention. And like you said, Rob, investigate. NYPD gets a bad rap, but let me tell you something. NYPD, and I'm not talking about the campus protests where the cops don't have judicial, you know what I'm saying? They don't have jurisdiction. But like protests on the street that the cops know are coming are really good at isolating those cases. Once they see movement or aggressive movement, you got 6 cops on those guys, and they take the 2 guys and say, hey, what's going on? Do you want to go to jail or do you want to talk? And everyone's going to be like, no, I just want to talk. And this guy says, he assaulted me. And I'm like, good. Here's the complaint. Here's your court date. Like if the guy's not a threat, to assault him more, they'll actually, you know what I'm saying? They'll summons them and have an appear in court thing. If the police determine if this guy is still going to be threatening, and they're going to put him in not handcuffs, because they're going to run out of handcuffs. What do you call it? That plastic thing? Yeah, you kind of, you get the zip, you put them in the zip thing, because that's what they do. That's what cops do to violent protesters. You zip them up, you throw them in jail. Jill Stein, who ran for president, got arrested. You know what I'm saying? The cop tried to pull her back with a bike. The cop used his bike and pushed a 65-year-old woman back. So if they could do that to Jill Stein, they could do that to some asshat in a mask who got butthurt about being filmed.
Let me show you. There was another video. He took 2 more videos, and I think they're 2 different days. Like they're not on the same day as we just saw. Okay. But I just wanted to ask him about the behavior, because again, it's another person wearing a mask. I would love to have somebody that speaks Arabic to tell me what the headband says, because it looks like the one, Hamas, green with Arabic on it. But I did some research this morning and I couldn't find the exact one. All the Hamas one I could find had an emblem in the middle. So it's obviously green. It has Arabic written on it. I don't know what it means. It looks like Hamas, but I don't think it is. I don't know. But look at this video, and it's just to go back to the question of the day, if protesters should be allowed to wear masks when they're protesting. And to our points, I think we all agreed on this, that the people that wear masks tend to be more violent. Like, you don't need to be pushing to be violent, but just their behavior. Like, just look at this. This video went viral. Like, I'm not too sure why that one went viral compared to his other one. Because that one has like 1.2 million. No, but this video went,
look at the rest of the crowd.
Yeah. I think he has 1.1 million or 1.2 million views on this video. I'm not sure why this one is more popular than the other algorithms for you, but just look this video, and it's really this guy. Like, it's all about this guy. Just look at his behavior and tell me what you guys think.
He seems to be walking alone.
That would be the courthouse behind us. Not sure what this writing is.
How pathetic is that? You go to looks, that's what you
do? The other protesters don't even like that guy. Did you see the way the other protesters were looking at him? If you look at the other protesters, that woman was like, who the fuck is you? You know, like if you go back, he's an outlier because he does stand out.
Yep.
He's not walking with a crowd of people. He's walking alone. So he might be Nico. He might be something we call an agitator, right? We're the first ones to call people feds on January 6th. Why wouldn't that be a far reach to not call this guy?
Do you mean the guy filming Daisy?
No,
or
the
do you
guy
mean
being
other-
filmed. The guy with the headband is walking by himself. And he seems pretty estranged, but just by watching that video, be estranged from the other people that are protesting.
He
And
had
we're the first ones to make a leap on about feds being there in January 6th. How do we know this guy's not like a plant?
We have his name. I'm not again. I'm not gonna say what his name is. What's that?
Like Ray go on a diet? Is that did Ray go on a diet?
Ray LF.
Dude served no jail time, dude. He served no jail time.
That's wild, man. That's wild.
And this is before Trump, right? Don't. I mean, they can't say this about Trump. This is 4 years you have to prosecute that guy as Nico's continues to search. But 4 years to prosecute that guy who said we're gonna go storm into the Capitol.
That's wild, man.
So as per what Daisy said, that guy is always at protests. Like they identified him. He goes to one of the universities in Ottawa. I'd be curious to know his status. Like as in, how is he in Canada? Is he a citizen? Is he on a student visa? Is he on a green card? Like I'd like to know what his status is. But yeah, it seems that he always goes to, again,
why
it goes
you
back
know his status?
because that's not the type of person I want in Canada. If you're not a Canadian, that's all I'm saying. Like the same thing with the guy that assaulted him. I'd like to know what his visa, what his status is. Is he a citizen?
Right.
Is he here on a student visa? Is
Canada a one
citizen
religion state? If Canada's not a one religion state, we're not worried about citizenship of people who practice a different religion, right?
No, but that has
you got guys in
that's
the KKK with pointy hats. We're not worried about their green card status.
No. But hold on. Assault is assault. If you're on a student visa, you break the law. Get the fuck out of here. Simple as that. I really don't give a fuck.
You're operating under a premise that doesn't exist. We don't know if we don't know if he's a student visa person or a citizen of Canada.
If he does.
You're operating on premises that don't exist. You're building a foundation that has
hold
no
on.
evidence.
Hold on. What I said is that I want to know what his status is. They didn't arrest the guy, so there's no way for us to know. We think we know who he is. I'm not going to give his name because for all I know, it's not him. And that person doesn't deserve the heat. So I'm not going to put his name out there.
Right. Even if it was, right. Yeah.
I'm not going to give him recognition. But what I'm trying to say is that if he assaulted someone, we're talking about the first video, because clearly the second video, the guy didn't do anything. He's just an idiot. Like, as you said, like the people around are just, I'd still be curious to know who that guy is and see if he's on a visa or not. I'd be curious to see, because as a Canadian, those are not the type of people, if you're on a student visa, you come here to fucking study. I don't want you to be walking down the street and telling people to fuck off. Like, I don't like it. Personally, I'm not that type of guy. I don't do that. So this is the thing, right? But the first one, he should have been brought downtown. And if he was on a student visa, just kick him out, because that's assault. Bye-bye. You're not a citizen. Bye-bye. You did something violent. Bye-bye. So that's why I would have loved to see.
If you're not a citizen, you commit violence, you got to go. Right. But if
and
you're protesting the way Netanyahu does his business, don't fucking suck Israel's dick on this. If they're doing it peacefully, let them do their thing. You know,
but clearly the first video is not peaceful.
That second guy, even if he's on, I don't think he did anything that would deserve to be kicked out for sure.
But I would like to know what's written on his band, though.
If he is on a, like just all of that hypothetical, if he is, of course, we don't know that.
I would just want to know what his headband is.
If it says death to Canada, get him out. Right?
That's my point. That's why I'd like to know.
Netanyahu has a thumb up his ass. Let's not baby Israel on every little thing. Every little thing we have to say about them. You know, I mean, but
you're the one that's
the elephant in the room. Well, it's the elephant in the room that no one.
You're making it about the elephant in the room. I'm not talking about
You did when you introduced his questioning his status.
No, absolutely not. I don't give a fuck where you're from. When I was in the US, I respected your laws.
But you just said
I just respect.
No, I think he just means like
I don't give a. If you're
country.
a foreigner, I don't care the color of your skin. I don't care your religion. I don't give a fuck. If you're here, you commit something violent, get the fuck out of here. I don't care. You're from Israel. I don't care that you're Israel. You're from Israel. You're a Jew. You're a Muslim. I don't give a fuck. You could be a Christian for all I care. If you come here, you commit violent. You're violent on a visitor visa, no matter that it's a green card, no matter that it's a visitor visa or a student visa. Get the fuck out of here. I don't condone violence. I travel all over the world, love the US. I don't commit crimes. Plain and simple. If I did, fucking kick me out. I'll be the first one to say kick me out. That's it.
Look, everyone's looking at us like 3 American Idol judges. Okay, we got Randy, we got Paula, Simon. All 3 judges said that guy's not going to Hollywood if he commits violence, right? If he has a good voice, right? If he has a good voice, he's nonviolent. Then maybe Simon won't do it. But Randy, I'm gonna be like, yo, dog, you're a little pitchy.
I'm not feeling it, dog. It's a no for me, dog. Joe Stradamus says the ultimate reality is that these cultures are tolerated because the Muslim world provides an overwhelming majority of the oil in the world. That's an interesting point. I don't know that that's what the cops are thinking in the space, but they kind of acted like they had marching orders, and maybe that's where the marching orders comes from. I doubt the cops just seem like they're just whatever.
Cops are like, for the oil.
But if they are getting marching orders, that's probably where it's coming from.
I just like the fact that it comes from Joe Stradamus. Because that sounds like something I would say.
He's right.
You know, go for it, Joe. I fucking love your comments. Sometimes I don't, but this one.
Even people that hate Muslims love the Saudis. Come on, we know what's up.
The only thing is,
we make an Arab money.
But to go back to what you're saying, Rob, though, you remember what we're talking about in Toronto for the Toronto police. You have a podcast with 2 Muslim guys that are talking that after October 26th, it was great. They had so many reverts and stuff like that. I'm like, that's sorry, but I'm starting to understand why you let them block the biggest intersection in Canada and nobody says shit, because you got marching orders. And that's what it looks like in Ottawa too, right? And they're like hands in there. It's very hard for anybody to say, oh no, they did their job. Yeah, fuck you. Like, fuck you.
They need to be very careful about how they're perceived. Once the perception gets out there that you're favoring one side, it's going to be real hard to keep the peace. It's real hard to do your job, and just I like just the way they kind of just smugly dismissed that Chris there. I didn't like that. You know,
it's bad policing, guys.
And what's the next step, right? What's the next step? You got to have the Free Palestine protesters in this case. Now they know that they can get away with it. So what happens next time? Then the next guy that's recording knows that nobody's going to do anything. Is it up to him to do something? This shit never stops.
Escalation, right?
It's going to escalate on both sides.
De-escalating. Right?
Well, maybe I will use my zoom lens on an iPhone instead of getting in someone's face. You know, and thinking.
But again, he wasn't in his face. He got out of his way.
You have the right, even so, you have the right.
We're watching 2 different videos on that. I'm watching the middle where the yellow line is. That's the middle of the street.
But the guy took steps towards him.
But it's like they have the right to protest, but everyone else has the right to be there too, right? They have the right to film it, and if that means that they're right there, like you can't.
But if you are mindfully aware that being inches away from someone's face is gonna irritate them, it's still assault at the end of the day. The guy has to have restraint and not do anything and not smack phones out of anyone's hand, But wow, I mean, look, I like the shot. I like that this guy's been doing the damn thing. You know, I'd love to talk to him on the show because I really like that he's.
Yeah, I really wish we could.
He's boots on the ground. I'm always gonna have respect for someone that's boots on the ground. That's not talking about it because that's symbolism. This dude is doing some form of activism or alternative activism. I'm mad respect to this guy, so I'm not trying to make him out.
He's reporting. That's why I call him a reporter. You know what he reminds me of? Like, you know, back in the days, people would go to war countries and they'd just be there with the camera filming people. They provided their opinion, but mostly what was going on. That's combat journalists.
Combat journalists.
That's what I see from him. He's going in a place where he knows it's going to be hostile for him.
Yeah.
He knows that it's not going to go well, but he's just, you know what? Nobody else is doing it, so I'm going to do it. Because he's one of the only ones.
I like that he's talking to people, though. Nico, I like that. that kind of activism we're talking about.
Keep that in mind. What you're saying, keep that in mind, because I have one more video to show, which is from a third day, like a different day. It was about the LGBTQ day of something. Rob, you probably know what it's called. I just can't fucking remember.
Well, the Pride?
The day of no.
Trans Day of Visibility.
The day of visibility. Thank you.
Yes, Trans Day of Visibility.
So check this. This is the third video, and then let's address it. Yeah, that was like yesterday or the day before.
I can't wait. TJ,
don't push me off the sidewalk.
So
say these people don't push me off the sidewalk.
Fuck you, Daisy.
They're targeting me.
Did you hear that? Fuck you, Daisy. So they know who he is, right?
Say these people don't push me off the sidewalk.
Fuck you, Daisy.
They're targeting me and calling me by name here, officer. Yeah, except they physically assaulted me and beat me before, these people in black cloths. I have a right to walk here, don't I? Sir? Officers, can somebody answer me here? I have a right to walk here, do I not?
That's marching orders, man.
Fuck you, Stacy. Did you hear that? Like, fuck you, Daisy.
Okay, what am I supposed to do here, guys?
It's a little tough.
What am I supposed to do here? They're pushing me and attacking me.
See, he's the first cop. He's the first cop in about 10 police that is just like, what the fuck?
Kind of
like, look at his face. Like, he's
that's marching orders, man. That's like, I can't do nothing to help you because I was told not to.
Yeah. And it's
very
hard
to debate that,
but it's very brave for the guy to break ranks. Like the protesters are police escorted. What this guy did is he went past the police escort inside that protest, probably to get a better shot. And that dude ended up headbutting him, which I thought was kind of a douchebag move. I think, look, it is an incredibly brave move when you know that police escorts are there, like to try to protect everybody from each other, right? But once you go inside that, and this is crazy because you guys would support this argument. Once you go inside that realm of the police escort that's designed to create a barrier of nonviolence, what's going to happen? There just might be violence. There's a reason why that barrier is there. So these are very similar cases, but they're two different. You can make two different arguments for them. But at the end of the day, I'm with Nico. Guys, don't fucking touch nobody. You touch someone, it's assault, dude. And the cop should be like, hey, whoa, like
at least that.
The cop should have just been like, the cop should have told the reporter, says, you please stay outside the barrier. You don't fucking touch nobody. And of course he'll argue it's my right to be everywhere at all times, but the cops
that would be proper de-escalation, right? That's how
preventive maintenance. Yeah. Nico, your thoughts. You see where we are. Sorry,
I'm happy that you guys saw the head bunt, because he clearly head bunted.
Oh yeah,
towards him. Move, dude. It's such a dick move.
You could hear it.
Yeah, and and he did it again right in the face of police officers that were right there. So again, two different situations, two different crowds, which bullshit. They're the same type of protesters at both protests. But the point is that two different situations, two different sets of cops, two different protests, same behavior. This is the thing. And the response was the same, right? They responded the exact same at one protest to the other. And this just drives me absolutely. It just shows that a lot of the people that are protesting have violent behaviors. And if you notice, both of the people that had violent behaviors in those situations had masks on. Because I could argue that the second video, the guy that's saying, fuck you, he's basically the only one that's fully covered. In the first video, that guy was one of the only ones that was fully covered, the guy that smacked his cell phone out of his hand. And then the guy that actually gave a head bunt, again, hoodie. So it just, that's why
did you see how they're two different arguments, though? You have a stronger argument in the first video, because what you guys were saying was that he broke ranks and went towards the guy and said, go on the sidewalk, which is bullshit. This second case, there's a barrier, police escorts. He goes inside the barrier because it's his right. And what's the worst that can happen? And that cop's face told it all when he's like, dude, the barrier is here to make sure there is no contact or de-escalation. You go inside that barrier, right? Something happens now, and now we have to show that we have marching orders and ignore this shit, or now we have to persecute. So they're the same, but can you appreciate how they're different?
We just don't know what the look was about, because you could argue that that's exactly it. Like, hey, bro, we're surrounding those people, so this type of incidents don't happen.
What does this guy do? It's right. He goes inside there and decides.
But hold on, it could also be, when I saw that look, I didn't see it for that. What I see it is, you know what, marching orders, bro, because he's looking at it. It's like nobody's gonna.
Wish I could help
and he's just like. He's like, yeah, nope, I'm not touching that one with a 10-foot pole, and he moves around. So because we don't have an answer, you're not wrong and I'm not wrong. Doesn't mean that I'm right. Doesn't mean that you're right. But you can look at the same video, see two different things, which is why it's wrong, because there's place to interpretation. I can easily choose to see it because of my bias to say he allowed it to happen. He had marching orders. Obviously, he had marching orders, and he was told not to investigate, not to get involved. You could say, oh, no, he was trying to be a good cop, and say, like, get out of here. Like, he shook his head as in, why are you even trying to promote violence by stepping into where
if that were a neo-Nazi
right?
protest, there's no way the cops would let any counter protester get inside the barrier of preventive maintenance.
They wouldn't have allowed them to hit somebody either.
Right.
But they wouldn't have allowed somebody to assault somebody else either.
No, and that's where your argument has legs. This is where Nico.
And the thing is too, it's not like these things are happening it's not like these things are happening in a vacuum, right? Like, we all can see patterns here. You can even go back to the BLM protest, and I'm not even talking about the behavior that went on at the protest. I'm just talking about the fact that protest was allowed to happen, right? This was in the middle of lockdowns. Nobody was allowed to do fucking anything, and yet that one protest was allowed to do, and they even justified it. They were like, social justice is more important than fucking the pandemic. So it's like, well, what the fuck? Like, me, my grandmother has to die alone. That didn't happen to me personally, but someone it has. She has to die alone because Nico, she has to die alone because it's so important that we do this. Meanwhile, these guys can protest about their thing, and it feels like, and even as a liberal, on someone on the left, it rubs me the wrong way. I don't like injustice when I see it, no matter what, and it feels like they've got their finger on the scales for the protest that they like. But
it was the wildest time of our lives, right? Nico, think about this. We have a border issue, right? And we're showing that we can fail keeping people from getting in the country, but we showed the world we can lock down our country. So it's like, are we really trying at the border when we show the world we can lock down our country? We can make sure people don't leave their house for like a month and a half, right? And like you said, COVID doesn't apply to protest, social distancing, which by the way they made up.
And that's the environment that when you see stuff like this, it starts to feel like a pattern, right? It starts to feel like an injustice. Yeah. And it's funny that, you hear those protests saying, you're a fascist, but it's like, that's pretty rich coming from the side who's got like the police basically acting as their personal bodyguards. Like, that's a far more fascist behavior.
I'm just so glad to see this reverse thing happening, because it's great. Because like it's news now. It's news now. It's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't dictate the way mainstream media covers news. I mean, I'm happy to, when we talk about the masks, and I said I don't think they should be a protest, and you were kind of like, yeah, but they allow it for like the KKK, and you'll never hear me say that was okay. I think it shouldn't be allowed for anybody.
That wasn't my argument, though. My argument was when Black people responded the way they did. That's what made the news. We have all the time.
I have no control.
Their First Amendment
guys
is always protected.
Guys, you're but you're talking over each other. Even I can't understand what you guys.
No, but hold on a second. My argument was it made the news because the Black community decided to arm themselves. It made the news because the Black community decided to wear a mask to protect their families from KKK neo-Nazi retribution. KKK rallies happen all the time in the United States of America. And like you said, the media decides to report whatever they want. And I find it bizarre and interesting that when brown people decide to exercise their Second Amendment right, and that Nico agrees in the classic sense of the context, that makes the news. Black people arming themselves against government oppression, or when government doesn't want to do shit about it, is how the Second Amendment was written and how it was intended. And that was news. You know, and Nico, I'd like to finish by saying we live in a wild, draconian place. He's talking about something that makes sense. You're not allowed to wear a mask. You don't have to wear a mask if you're protesting. These people are full of shit, dude. These people are full of shit. Like, you can wear a mask. You have to wear a mask to get in the restaurant, right? But when you sit down, you could take the mask off. And I'm like, is COVID only 5 feet high? It was the craziest time in our lives. Nico and I talked about this on previous episodes.
It was. I mean, absolutely. Like, even now, thinking about it, it feels like a different world, right? It was like, it's hard to believe that actually happened. But there's, obviously there's a whole lot of things we can complain about that. But yeah, I mean, for me, like, you'll never hear me say that it was okay for the KKK to be fully masked at protests. I have no control over how media covers stories. I think personally, it's just a good preventative measure to say, okay, you want this permit to protest, fair. You're not allowed to wear a mask for it. I just think it's good.
Or if you commit violence, then it's mask off. If you commit violence, then it's mask off.
That's okay too.
It's social media. Some of the best ways for people to express their free speech and not be vilified for it is to have, usernames that don't match their name, right? And this country decided that corporations are free speech, right? We decided that big corporations don't have to disclose what candidate is getting shitloads of money to win elections because they have more money, right? So I as much as it disgusts me, I think KKK people should be able to mask up. And but to Nico's thing, once you touch someone, it's mask off. It's just like Scooby. Who watched Scooby-Doo? No one watched Scooby-Doo. Like
everybody.
Who the monster really?
It's always someone. Yeah, it's always someone. Yeah.
Nico Lagan.
Just look at V for Vendetta. That's why I will never agree to not allow people to wear masks. Because sometimes the only way you can protest is in unity with other people. Just like V for Vendetta, right? At the end, they all have masks. They get killed. They get abused. But at the end, they're doing what they're supposed to do. So again, I don't think you should. I think you're allowed to wear a mask if you want to. I don't have a problem with that. But if you do commit violence, it should be doubled or tripled. What you get as a punishment should be worse because you were a coward and you hid your face. Because you obviously, and the whole point of those 3 videos is just to show that the only people that were violent matter is just a fuck you or touched him, all were masks. Like they all wore masks. It just doesn't look bad. It just doesn't look good. It seems that the people that wear masks are either feel empowered to be violent or that was their intent all along. You can argue on either side. It's just, it looks bad, and I don't believe in coincidences. That being said, there's obviously, we're not going to go through all those videos. Obviously not.
No.
But there's one I wanted to show. We're going to finish with Val Kilmer. I will make time for him. But one of the things we promised to do is to give a Canada election update, since we're in election time in Canada right now. Yeah. And I wanted to show this and give a bit of perspective to it afterwards, because now Carney is the liberals or the left-leaning individuals that still believe in the Liberal Party are very happy right now because supposedly, at least he's advertising it, that Mark Carney removed the carbon tax yesterday. So I took a video from his own platform. But
Prime Minister makes good on his promise to axe the consumer carbon tax.
As of today, the consumer carbon tax is over.
Gas prices are way down this morning.
Lots of smiles on faces and lots of busy gas stations. Overnight, the price of gas at this station tanked from $1.52 to $1.36.
So this is, okay. Do you know what the Stockholm syndrome is? Everybody's familiar to that?
Yeah.
So for the people that don't know, is basically when you fall in love with, you get kidnapped, you're held hostage, and you fall in love for the people that are holding you hostage. That's what the Stockholm syndrome. I just wanted to put that into perspective. Right now, after he axed the tax, gas prices around Canada average $1.52 per liter. That's the price right now. In 2019, just before the tax was put in place, it was $1.26. I just want to say that. So people are like, woo, we're saving money. Hey, fucktard. It used to be 30 cents per liter, almost 30 cents a liter less.
So yeah,
guys, stop with this shit. Like, stop with this shit. The government fucked you. They put it,
and then they unfucked you, and they want a victory lap.
Can I finish,
right?
bro? Bro, come on, man. Let me talk.
Bro, you're always talking.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
No, but
go ahead. Finish what you're
Nico
talking
got
about.
a punchline. Rob, come on.
Go ahead.
Bro, go for it, bro. I'm gonna stop right there.
No, I was agreeing with you, man. Like I try not to jump in. Like I got things to say as well, you know?
Go for it, man.
My
Jason,
point
anything?
I think Nico's right. I think like they're not doing anyone a special favor by bringing things back the way they were. I think there's a certain you should be commended by at least trying to steer the steering wheel back in the direction which we think is the right direction, right? So putting us right back where we started from is nothing to celebrate. It is something to celebrate, but to act like that people should be grateful just for making everything normal to a government in which it's their job to keep everything normal is not something where he's going to get bonus checks for. It's your fucking job. Do your job. And go ahead, Nico. Sorry.
Hey, go ahead.
Oh no, man. I was trying to make a point just to say that it was cheaper in 2018 and 2019 before the tax. It went up past $2 at some point a liter because of the tax. And now we have Carney scrapping the tax, the consumer portion of it, and people are happy, yet we're still paying 30 cents, just under 30 cents more than we did in 2019 before they put the tax in. So people are so fucking stupid that they're celebrating this when clearly it was cheaper before. And now they forgot what happened over the past 5 years or the past 6 years now. But they're still voting for the same guy that was telling Trudeau what to do for the economy. Don't forget that Mark Carney was one of Trudeau's advisor for the economy. So the carbon tax comes from him. And now we're celebrating him because he cut the tax that they put in without even cutting the tax. He removed a portion of it. He didn't remove the whole thing. It's not cheaper than it used to be. It's still, after he cut the tax, it's still almost 30 cents a liter. That for you, Jason, is 3.8 liter per gallon. Like when I was in fucking Alabama last week, I was paying $2.58 a gallon. That's almost 4 liters. Here, we're celebrating paying $1.52 a liter. Are you guys retarded? Like, you guys are fucking nuts. Like, it's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Somehow, but we're happy about this.
California.
Insane.
Yeah.
Nico, do you know how much gas is in California per gallon?
$5.
$5.19.
Yeah, I believe it.
Wow.
We saw it through the US. As soon as we left Alabama, we left like Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina. We started going to North Carolina. It was like $3 something. Like, it was literally $1 more a gallon. And it just went up as you went closer to Canada. The northern state were even more expensive and more expensive.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yep. Rob, the 5th largest economy in the world is slowly becoming an unmarketable city and state, you know?
That's wild. But yeah, no, it is, you know, like Nico said, they're the ones who did this, right? So it's almost like they want praise for, they started punching us in the face and now they stopped. And I think they want praise for that. But the other thing that I read today, which is actually very interesting, is he did not actually get rid of the tax. He could have done that by calling Parliament back to repeal the tax. What he did is he slid the rate down to zero. So the carbon tax is still on the books. He can at any time he wants slide it back up if he wants to. So yeah, it's a little bit of a wordplay there when they say he axed the tax. He did not. He slid it down to zero, but he has the power to slide it back up at any time.
Yeah, they also need to leave farmers alone.
No, but the reason he's using the axe is because he's basically Polyev has been running on axe the tax against Trudeau. Yeah. Those are his words. All he's done is take his words and use them for himself, as in, what else you got, motherfucker? That's Carney is very intelligent. He is just, what else you got? Polyev has been running on, I'm going to cut the tax. I'm going to axe the tax. I'm going to axe the tax. He has a bunch of fucking flyers saying axe the tax. Now you got the liberals that are using his own words. So basically what you have on your flyer to promote your party is also what I'm saying. So you're promoting me by you still using those words. He's very, very clever. And unfortunately, it's working. Like, Canadians are stupid enough to act. Not all Canadians, obviously, but a lot of Canadians are dumb enough to look at this and say, oh, you know what? He's doing a good job. He's really working for us.
He certainly boxed in Polyev. He's got nowhere to go. He's got absolutely nowhere to go. And man, he just completely blew this lead. He's like the football player who's, running into the end zone doing the dance and then gets tackled on the 1 yard line. Because he thought he had this in the bag. I
think it's worse than that. I think it's worse than that.
He throws the ball away.
He fumbled by himself. Polyev was like 40 yards out from the end zone alone. He trips on himself and somehow fumbles the ball to the other team. Like, breaks his ankle.
It's just wild. I'm so glad that I'm not immersed in this Canadian shit. Like, they were trying to carbon tax farmers for like cow production, but then finally some smart scientists said that cows are carbon neutral. What are you doing? Leave farmers the fuck alone. But Nico's point is equivalent to some guy saying, I take care of my kids. It's like, you're supposed to take care of your kids, you asshole. Why are you saying that? Like, it's your job to, and that was the point I was trying to make. It's your job to do this. You're not, you're not farming apples out when you leave here, or like selling spatulas. This is what you're supposed to be doing. This is what we elected you to do 24/7. Do your fucking job.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all it looks for. That's all it looks like. They're doing us a favor. This is the part that always pisses me off when I look at election cycles. Like, oh, we're doing this for you. Motherfucker, you should have been doing this already. Why are you waiting now? Why you're doing this now when you have the power? We've been hurting for a long time. This is nothing new. But people are falling for this shit. This is what bothers me the most. Like, I really wonder what it's going to take for Canada to wake the fuck up.
An invasion.
I'd be curious, Rob, but I'd be curious, like, if you talk to your family, because my liberal family don't talk to me anymore. Surprise, surprise, right? But yours is still there. So, what do they like?
They don't really see it. They don't really see a major problem. I think.
So can you bring that up with them? Can you do me a favor and bring that up? The fact that in 2019 it was 30 cents less, like, give or take. I'm saying 30 cents for the argument here, but it was literally 30 cents less 6 years ago, before they put the carbon tax in place. Now that the carbon tax is supposedly scaled down to zero, it's still 30 cents more expensive than it was back then. Don't even count the fact that it went up to $2. But what goes into their mind to say, oh, I don't see a problem with that? Like, what's going on in their minds? That's what I don't understand.
So I'll tell you, I think what's going on is a lot of boomers, people like my parents' generation, say 60, 65 and older, are basically getting radicalized by mainstream media. It's funny because 10, 15, 20 years ago, the meme was that the boomers then were getting radicalized by Fox News. You heard all the time, I lost my parents to, and now it's there. Everything's about Trump, because like the only people who really watch mainstream media to get their news are the boomers right now. And they are, my girlfriend's the same thing. Her parents are terrified they're convinced Trump's going to invade, like the military's coming any day. And that is pushing them, even though technically that has nothing to do with Canadian politics. It's just pushing them into the Liberals. Have you seen the breakdown? I'll see if I can find it here between age groups.
Just look at the picture right now. This is posted by Carney a couple hours ago. Look, it's all like I'm making your point here. It's all old people. Look. People. It's like 90%. It seems like old.
Yeah,
people.
It's crazy how this happened. But
I'm not curious about your family. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I'm not. Your parents are not the people that I'm talking about because I understand them. I'm talking about your sisters, your brothers that are younger, that have not technically. They probably don't even follow the news. As in, they don't watch. They probably don't even have fucking cable. So why? So for your parents, I get it. I get that. But for your family that is in their 20s or even their 30s, what the fuck is going on in their mind when they look at this and like, what's going on? What am I missing here? Because I'm missing something and I don't get it.
For the younger generation, I think most people are picking their politicians based on vibes and how they feel about things. I don't think a lot of them are really thinking about the issues in this way. They're not thinking about it like that. A lot of politics is personal, and there's just a lot of tribalism, a lot of this is my side, and they're not really looking into I think everyone was thick of Trudeau. I think if Trudeau had been running this election, he would have got his ass handed to him. Carney, a lot of people aren't making that connection between Trudeau and Carney, even though he's basically been his mentor for how, decades now. And he was a top advisor all throughout Trudeau's. I mean, Carney's on the record as regularly stating that there needs to be a tax on carbon. There needs to be a price on carbon. This is like a fundamental worldview for him. And that's why it's a little concerning to see he didn't remove the carbon tax. He moved the slider down, but he's still got that power. And we know how he feels about it. And so, it won't surprise me at all if he wins the election, he'll slide that motherfucker right back up. And he has the power to do so with a stroke of a pen.
Do you mind asking? I don't know if your family's listening to this, but I'd like to get their their opinion.
I'll throw it in the group chat for sure. We typically don't talk politics because
remember, man, I'm a shit thrower. I'm a shit bomb thrower. I like to have a nice shit bomb, throw it in a room and leave. But in this case, I'm just curious. I'm really, really curious to see what's going on in people's head and how do they, because I see the Stockholm syndrome. That's all I can think of. I see this. I'm like, how the fuck are people falling for this?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a lot of just tribalism. Okay, so I actually found that chart here. I'm going to show it shows you how this election is really just it's really just old versus young in a lot of ways. It's just a generational battle. If it wasn't for the boomers, so can you guys see that there?
Yep.
Okay, so we've got over here 18 to 34 hard for the Conservatives. 35 to 54. Okay, when is this? This is back in January. So I see
that does not sound right.
It's basically January 29th. Same thing, which I saw the other day, except over here the Liberals was way up. Conservatives was way down. It basically, these two groups was about the same. The thing that changed, I'll see if I can find the newer one, but the thing that changed is this 55 plus is like hard for the Liberals. And I don't really know why. I think, my parents definitely have some TDS. I think a lot of the boomers here do. And that does spill over here into our politics. Cheryl says, boomers and pre-boomers, Rob. My parents are pre-boomers and they watch mainstream news. They're boycotting American products because mainstream told them. Yeah, it seems to be like, 45 and younger. Most people just don't really watch much. We don't really consume mainstream media that much. We get our news from social media, And whether that's, of course, there's biases built into that too, but you're also going to get a much broader range of it. And I feel like the biases are more open. People are open about their biases. It's the mainstream media where they act like there is no bias. And, you know, the boomers they swallow it whole hog. And, you know, it's a problem because obviously they have a right to vote however they want, but man, like something feels off when you've got like the 60 plus crowd deciding the future, you know, overruling the younger people who are going to be here 40, 50 years from now when they won't. Not saying old people shouldn't vote, of course, but it just, you know, it sort of rubs you the wrong way a little bit.
But at the same time, you're, as much as you're saying that you understand why the baby boomers, or maybe you don't, but the baby boomers watch mainstream media, and that's what mainstream media is telling them to do. That's why they do it. They've been watching it their whole life, so they're indoctrinated when it comes to mainstream media. That I think we can. No, the older generation, like the 55, the 45-ish.
Yeah. Okay.
But at the same time, the youngers are no different. They just believe everything mainstream media is telling them on social media. Instead of taking it from the TV, they take it from their phones. Because how else can you explain that they just what I showed today, that in 2019 it was almost 30 cents cheaper? Then they're celebrating it. Okay, mainstream media is saying that it's a great achievement, and Mark Carney is fucking awesome for doing what he did. But at the same time, it takes you 2 seconds to research it to see that we pay more right now than we did prior to the tax. It takes 2 seconds to mention that, as you said, he didn't really remove the tax. He zeroed it out, meaning that nothing has changed. And tomorrow he can go by the day after he gets elected, he can just say, fuck you, I'm boosting it to 20% now instead of being 10, whatever the numbers is. Because he has just do, again, a quick research. You don't need to go to DuckDuckGo or to go to Brave to find this information. You can go on Google. You can literally Google it. And Mark Carney is a big fan of the carbon tax, and he's been praising it and how we needed to do business with emerging markets like China. No, but just 2 weeks ago, to battle against the US, we're going to do business with China, but we need to have a carbon tax in order to do business with them because that's what they want. Like, are you fucking kidding me? But how? So the fact that people are not taking their information from mainstream media on cable, they're still taking it from mainstream media on their cell phones. Like, it doesn't matter. The medium doesn't matter. They still don't question what they're being told because it goes against their feelings. And this is what I want to know from your family, because right then and there, I would ask my family, but goddamn, they don't talk to me anymore. So I can't really do that. But I don't understand. I don't understand what it's going to take for people to start questioning what they're being told. You don't have to agree with me. You really don't have to agree with me. You can think I'm full of shit, and that's fine. But if I can put just a little hesitation or a little question in you to just say, oh, fuck, maybe he's up. Maybe I should research this instead of believing what people tell me. Yeah, I believe that. I think this is bang on what you're showing right now. I think this is bang on.
Yeah, so this is from March 24th. So this is a lot more recent. And this is the thing that I'm talking about. It is primarily the 60 plus crowd that is if the Liberals win, that's why. You know, you've got a majority support for Conservatives in literally every single other age group. And of course, you know, you're always going to have some support, but you know, I think, like, obviously my sisters are Liberal, but they would be in the minority in their age group. It's the boomers who are, for whatever reason, just swung really, really, really hard to the Liberals. And if the Liberals win, it's going to be that age group.
And you know what the problem is with that, what you're showing right now, because that's a part we need to put into perspective, is that 20% of Canadians, 18.98 if you want to be exact, are above 65.
Yeah.
So you're talking about a very big portion of the voting population that's over 65. So they actually have they're the one that they're fucking us, and they're too old. So either they're geriatrics, like they don't fucking remember what happens, or they're gonna die and they just don't give a fuck. They vote with their feelings. But this is the part, right? Like this, we're not talking about this, but yet a good portion of the voters in Canada are above 60. Yet they're taking decisions that are going to destroy the next generations. And obviously the next generations are like, we don't want this shit.
Yeah, it seems unfair, right? It doesn't seem like, but like obviously in a democracy, one person, one vote, but it does.
You know, people out there,
you guys won't even be alive 20 years from now.
If you have a lot of those 60-year-old in your family, maybe it's time to put them in a home. I'm just saying. It's a joke, obviously.
Yeah,
it's a fucking joke. They're allowed to vote.
I think
at the same time, it's bullshit that they can do that.
I think
it's
Cheryl
bullshit
actually,
that they have such a big role.
I think Cheryl probably has the best answer to your question. In my opinion, it depends on whether or not they've had a personal wake-up call, something that has happened to them personally that doesn't make sense. Until that happens, I think most people are just going to revert back to their status quo thinking. And
if COVID did not wake you up, you're asleep and you will stay asleep. And if you're above 60 and COVID did not wake you up, you're going to die asleep. Sorry, not sorry. At this point, what the fuck is it going to take for you to wake the fuck up?
Yeah. I mean,
you don't think COVID woke a lot of people up though?
No, clearly not.
I think it
the
did.
same government, the same government that was tyrannical is still in fucking power.
Yeah,
this guy that has worked with Trudeau behind the scene is now prime minister. He is as responsible as Trudeau is for what happened during COVID. Freeland, that was the one that went after protesters' bank accounts, is still in power, and she just froze something like $40 million of assets for payments for EV rebates going to Tesla. So it wasn't a fluke thing. She froze bank accounts 3 years ago. She's still fucking doing it now because she can. The same people that did this are still in power, and there's liberal voters out there that are still voting for this shit. If this does not wake you up, what the fuck is it going to take for you to wake up?
Well, and then you've got the economic case, right? Like our GDP has completely stalled in the last 9 years. I mean, that's my biggest thing with this party is there's nothing that Carney could have done to get my vote, just because I fundamentally believe you cannot reward that kind of behavior in a democracy, because the party will have no incentive to fix what they're doing. If they keep winning, of course they won't. And so, you have to, that's the only way we can hold parties accountable is by voting them out. If we're not going to do that when they show that kind of incompetence, I mean, I don't know when you ever would. Like, I'm kind of baffled in that regard as well.
I'll add one more layer to this problem. And that's what, again, I'd like to see what your family think. But will they vote liberal because they don't see enough of a change? They don't see enough of a difference between the liberals and the conservative. You know where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't see much different in their speech anymore. The more Carney takes the ideas of Poliev and makes them his, they're very close right now. Not in their ratings, but as to what their speech are. Like, what's the main difference now between Poliev and Carney? I don't know.
Yeah.
What the fuck do they stand for now? This is brutal. This is brutal.
Yeah. So this is a chart. If you look down here in 2015, we were basically lockstep with America from 2008 here down here, that big fall. That's the 2008 subprime housing crisis. We're lockstep. We're lockstep. 2015, exactly the year that Trudeau gained power. And then look, if you go extrapolate, we're the exact same place. We have stagnated completely. America's continued to go up. You can't reward that kind of behavior. It don't matter if they parachuted some new guy in. That for me, it's just as simple as that. It's just basic. You have to hold shitty performance accountable in your democracy, or you lose any sense of discipline. That's how you get a banana republic, when parties feel like they have a lock on it, because they don't have to be accountable to their voters. Cheryl says here, yeah, and again, I think this is also a great comment with regards to attempt to answer your question there. She says, Nico, in my experience, it's like cognitive dissonance. They may notice something. However, I believe it's too far a stretch for them to connect the rest of the dots. I think there's some major cognitive biases being at play here. And you need to remember, like, we talk, this is what we do every day. We talk politics. We're involved. Most people are not. Most people don't think about politics to this extent. They know the names of the people, and that's about it. Right? They know, oh, I like that guy, I don't like the guy. If you ask them, they won't even be able to tell you why. They'll just say, I just like him.
And I think it's very, very odd that for the United States, the majority of the country, 41% of this country are independents. They're registered under the Independent Party, Green Party, or no party preference, and yet we are the ones made to look like the minority because the mainstream media is predominantly pumped to conservative and Democrat. And to answer your question about the liberal thing, like why no one's seeing it, it's because there's an inherent fear. Speaking from the United States perspective, but certainly seeps into Canada, there's an inherent fear that the party's disappearing. There's been a huge exodus from the Democrat Party, and all of those people that have been censored, all of those people that have been silent and vilified are not conservatives, who they've been doing this for the last decade, if not forever. It's been people like RFK, it's been people like Elon Musk, it's been people like Tulsi Gabbard. All of these people left. Like Joe Rogan is as left as it gets, and if you look at like the heading of like podcasts, they have like bubbles. Like the bigger the bubble, the bigger the where he leans. So and it's red, so it's red, and it's this huge bubble. So he's rated the biggest conservative host. This has been an attack. Yes, isn't that wild? But that's the point. You should see Joe Rogan's reaction to that. It's like, what? That is wild. And he's not even a political show, right? So, but my point is, it's been an attack on this party, these people that are leaving the party, because if it's public that there's this huge exodus, their party will disappear. And this is why having me on the show is valuable, because I do lean left, but I do remember telling Nico, like, everyone's like, how come you're always on the show going after the left and not the right? And it's because, like, Mitch McConnell didn't promise me Medicare for all. Like Donald Trump did not promise me a minimum wage hike or a livable wage, right? The Squad did, AOC did, right? But Biden did. Biden said on day one, I'm going to wipe student debt clean, on all these things on day one, right? So the reason why there's an exodus is because these Republicans aren't the one promising these things to get elected. Democrats are. And the ones that stay are the ones that are convinced by mainstream media, as Nico probably can finish this sentence for me, we might suck, but we're still better than them. And they're like, good enough for me. And it is the worst case of Stockholm syndrome probably in the history of politics. It's a very, very bizarre time. And it's weird that the older generation of you guys are liberal, where our older generation is Republican.
It is weird, eh?
It's an opposite.
Yeah,
like,
it's really weird.
We get, as young guys, we get this speech all the time, like, you can put yourself through college. I'm like, Elizabeth Warren, you lived in a time period where you can wait tables and put yourself through college because college was cheaper.
And probably buy a house, you know what I mean?
In the 1990s, college went from the average of the median of $22,000 a year to $165,000 a year. Now you need to have $1 million to get your kid through a decent university for 4 years. So I don't listen to these people talk about, if I did it, you can do it, because when they were doing it,
different world.
Rent was fucking $200 a month, right? Come on. Inflation went up, and the minimum wage has stayed in the United States has stayed the same since 2009.
Well, and I get that too. I'll be like, well, you're a lefty. Why are you always shitting on the left? It's like, we got to clean our own house. That because I see like the right can. I don't really care what the right's doing at this point. The right can do their own thing. Like, that's not my concern. My concern is how broken the left appears to be right now on several key issues. And that's like, there's no point in going after the right until we clean our own house up first. And that's how I sort of see my role in this show.
But there's no such thing as the right. That's the problem. Like, America is completely different when it comes to political parties, because there is an opposition. There is such a thing as different views, different values, different policies. They want to change something. In Canada, we don't have it. That's my point. That's the whole point of this, is we are so left that even the conservative are lefties.
Do you
The
think
only
this is a
party that
Polyev?
is no, but
I'm
it,
just-
it wouldn't matter. But it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Because
you.
it does not matter, because if Polyev was extremely so you look at Maxime Bernier. He's not a Republican. He's a libertarian, somewhere in the middle. He is not going to be on the debate stage. They're trying to prevent him from ever having his voice heard. So all he does is podcast now, which good for you, bro. That's the way to do it. But they consider him a far right guy. This just tells you how left we are when you have a guy that is pretty much common sense in his values. Again, I don't agree with everything that he says, but a lot of the things that he says, I'm like, hey, bro, goddamn, it doesn't take a light bulb to realize that it makes fucking sense. And he's been saying it since 2017. It's not new. He didn't change his stance. So it's not like those are new values. We're talking 8 years ago now. But yet I still see the same people voting left. I still see the same conservatives voting for conservative values that have been watered the fuck down to a point where they sound like liberals. So we don't have any right in Canada. So as much as you say you need to clean your left, this whole thing needs to be cleaned, because we don't have oppositions anymore. Everything that you hear, and that was the point I was making earlier, all Carney had to do is to axe the tax, and now Polyev has nothing. How fucking pathetic is that shit? How pathetic is it that all he had to do is axe the tax? I'm going to use your same words, and people are fucking dumb enough to buy this shit because Stockholm syndrome, because they don't want to question. And I agree with Shelley that's saying that it's dissonance, cognitive dissonance. But I'm tired of this shit. I'm really tired of having a bunch of fucking zombies being able to take decisions for a country that I love. I lost everything to be able to speak my mind. And what I'm saying is not out there. I'm just fucking common sense. If you really knew what I fucking thought, you'd fucking not listen to this shit. So I'm trying to be as common sense as possible. But at one point, when is it enough? Because I'm fucking tired of this shit. I'm back in Canada and I don't want to be here. I don't like it here. Both my wife and I don't like it here. We don't like it, and it's not my fault. It's because of you fucking idiots that are out there that keep voting for the same fucking idiots. It's your fault that Canada sucks. And it bothers me because, you know what? I can leave. I can go back to the US. I can go fucking live in Italy. It's going to be your fucking problem. Your problem, not mine. Because I can leave. You can't. It's your parents that are going to die broke. Your parents are going to die broke. The people that keep on voting for the same fucking idiots, you're the one that's going to be poor 10 years from now.
Amen.
Remember when my grandmother died because of COVID? It's going to be the same thing for you, except it's going to be your fault because you keep on fucking going for those people. It's just, I don't know what else am I supposed to do. Am I going to scream until I'm blue in the face? What is it going to take? Do I have to smack people? Do I have to fucking walk down the street and start waking people up? Because at one point, you know what happened in the US, right? Trump sold it as in, if we don't stop this now, nothing's going to happen. It's worse in Canada than it was for you guys in the US. And people are just, they just continue fucking walking like nothing's happening because they don't want to hear it. So when is it enough? When is it going to be enough for people to wake the fuck up?
Well, I have a little bit of a solution, but I'm not going to give anyone the solution, because if I give the solution, that means Nico won't stay in America and we don't have more real manly men in America. So in that respect, I say, Canada, keep up the good work. We're going to lose. You're going to lose yourself a Nico, and your loss is going to be our gain. Are you kidding? I'm trying to be satirical because I know Nico's feeling a different way about this. But I have a question for you guys. Is there a polling system that allows you in a debate? Like if you pull it a certain percentage, do they have to?
Why don't they let Bernie? Like what? By what mechanism are they able to keep Bernie?
Yeah, like for example, the Democratic primary at some point, the threshold, the percentage gets higher and higher, and more people have to drop out because they don't meet the threshold to be in the debates. And the presidential debate, I think you have to poll at 15% and higher.
I'm going to take a couple of these.
It's something along those lines. There's a certain. There's a certain way they can block Maxime, but the point I was trying to make is not to endorse Maxime Bernier, is just to simply say that we have nothing except for left.
Yeah.
So as much as people say we need to clean our own house, you're the only house that exists. My house doesn't even fucking exist in Canada. I don't have a fucking house in Canada. I don't. I really don't. I'm home. I'm literally not only am I an orphan, but I'm fucking homeless.
Right.
Like I have no place to be in Canada. Zero.
So we got some
Wizard of
comments.
Oz
And
shit right there, dude.
seem like they agree with you. Mr. Memorino says, Nico, I feel the same way as you. Never want to go back. Very frustrated with Canadians. I'm very sad for my country. Tony G says, Nico, I wish you were running for PM and speaking to the masses. Maybe you should think about that.
Yeah, that's why I was like, if there's a polling system, Nico could be on that debate stage.
It's really sad how
he could debate him, he could beat him.
And broken we become. This muzzling of politicians really disturbing. Yeah, exactly. And that's why we went on about Marine Le Pen in France the other day. Like, you can't, you can't muzzle politicians. That smacks of weakness. It sounds like you're going to lose. Whether you agree with them or not, let them run. That's how democracy works. If you think that they shouldn't be running, well, that's not your call. They will lose if the voting base does not want them there. Prairie agrees. Very frustrating for sure. So I mean, most people are feeling what you're putting out there. I think there's also a fundamental, you think like why. I think there's a fundamental misunderstanding how politics works here. I think people underestimate how much power the parties have. The parties have all the power. You slap a Carney on top of the Liberal Party, it's still the same shit Liberal Party that was responsible for 9 years of stagnation, economic stagnation. Carney can't really do a whole lot. It's the party that has the power. I'm not sure. I feel like in the United States, maybe the leader has a little bit more sway to act. Like Trump basically grabbed the Republican Party by the fucking balls and he dragged them to where he wanted to go. You can't do that here in Canada, just the way the system works. And they, people, it was wild when you see the swing in the polls just because they changed the figurehead, just because it's Carney now and not Trudeau. And I mean, it's ridiculous. People just do not understand how our system works.
But you have to appreciate the why as far as Trump grabbing the Republican Party by the balls. The voters decided that, right?
Yeah.
A lot of these establishments, these RNC and these DNC establishments, are to make sure that grassroots candidates or candidates from the outside looking in don't get to take over the party. And that's what happened in 2016. It was a hostile takeover because when Obama was president, everybody was glad Obama was going to be gone because they knew that one of their own was going to come in and take over. And here comes Trump. The Democrats are, and the Republican primary, by the way, the Democrats are cheering for Trump. When he was fucking vilifying Ted, calling him Lying Ted, Little Marco, No Energy Jeb, or whatever, he had names for them, and they were like, wow, this guy's fucking calling them out. And they were having a good time with it. And then all of a sudden it was like, wait, he just won. How did an establishment that their brick wall is and their stone walls are so thick, how did this guy do it? And this is why he won 2 out of 3 times. The Democrats, just like the Canadian Liberals, are not listening to the voters. They're saying the voters are children. They don't know better. We're going to show you what's good for you and what's right for you. And that is the introduction to fascism. And this is why, much to my chagrin, liberalism has been kind of like kissing cousins with fascism, because I don't consider I do not consider liberalism fascism, but do I have an argument against that shit based on the last few years? Jesus,
the authoritarianism is creeping in, and for people.
But do you understand what I'm saying? The people decided that our system works. The people decided Trump should be president. This man won the popular vote. He won all 7 swing states, much to my chagrin. I don't like him, and in many ways, I still don't trust him. But it did show the system work.
Yeah.
But again, you guys have oppositions. You have 2 parties that clearly don't stand for the same thing. We don't have that. This is what blows my mind.
We have more than 2.
Like, we don't have that opposition. We really don't. It's all of our parties outside of the PPC, which has no way of winning.
Well, would you consider the PPC opposition if they were able to get enough votes, like just by their platform, by their policies?
Of course they would.
You would consider that enough separation for, okay.
Do I consider that enough? No. But would it be a good place to start? Yes.
But it's something, yeah.
because we don't the fact that we don't allow for a different opposite, like a different view, because what Maxim stands for compared to all the other parties is completely night and day. Like it's completely night and day from even the conservatives. And yet this is what blows my mind. So you have the liberal, you have the Green Party that should be the equivalent of communist / socialists, that more communists. Then you have the NDP, which are socialists. They're on their way to communism, but they're the first step before, they're the last step before communism. Then you have the liberal that should be the left. Then you have the conservative that should be the right. And then a guy like Maxime Bernier should be in between the liberals and the right, like somewhere in the middle, maybe a bit more. His party has a bit left of right, right of middle, left of middle, like, but they're the different. They should be between the liberals and the conservative. But yet we're in a world where the conservative are with the liberal on the left. Yes, the liberal are left, or if you split the left into two, they're more left of middle of the left, and the conservative are more right of middle of the left, but they're still under the left banner. And a guy like the PPC's value are all out of all of right field. Like those guys are crazy. Yet I probably follow at least 20 candidates for the PPC right now. And everything that, and I know them, I've recorded content with them, I've spoken to them, we're in the same private groups. They're just regular people like you and I. They're tired of this shit, and they're like, you know what? I'm gonna try to do something. Chances are I'm not gonna win, but it's okay. I'm gonna put my best effort forward, hoping to help the people. And they're being called names. They're being called right fascists. They're being called like the equivalent of the Maple MAGA, and I'm like, bro, they're left of me. I'm way more right than them than they are. Yet people still think that it's okay for us in Canada to have a uniparty. And I don't understand how it's even up for debate. I don't understand how it's even a conversation. It's not even a conspiracy theory at this point. Just fucking just look at their platforms, put them one. I have 3 screens in front of me right now. I could put the NDB's platform there, the Liberals platform. I could put the Liberal platform there, the Conservative there, and Maxime Bernier. And I'm like, those two sound exactly the same.
Yeah. I think the FCC allows the media to lie with impunity that makes people shift this argument, right? And in many ways, social media has become complicit, because the best way for some of these social media platforms to build their brand is repeating what CNN is saying and whatever. So it's wild that they think, oh, that guy's just a YouTuber, and these guys want to be in our platform at the same time. So there's a hypocrisy, but the cure is just like Kendrick Lamar said, turn off the TV. We are being lied to. For the people that still pay for cable, you're being lied to for a fee. You're paying for people to lie to you. You can get the truth here.
But that's what that polling that I showed you guys earlier shows, is that pretty much all the age groups that do not rely on mainstream media are all one way. And then the one age group that does is hard the other way. And I mean, that's basically statistics showing exactly what you're saying there. That basically those younger generations turn the TV off, right? They stopped listening to those voices. And when you do that, you still have to get your information from somewhere, but I'd rather have a broad range of information, even if a lot of it's fucking kooky or wacky. I just think you're in a much better position to make a wise choice than if you get just your information from one spot, even if it's like the establishment and it's not wild, quote unquote. It's funny because mainstream media sort of prides itself on not being extreme, and yet if all you do is listen to them, the result is extreme beliefs.
Yeah,
kind of a weird paradox.
Thank God for Jennings, man. At least they were trying to have a balance of Republicans or whatever. And I think, in fairness to the Republican Party, if you're going to have one guy on an all Democrat show, make sure they're strong. Jennings, You know, Jennings is easy to be a fan of because he's doing the damn thing, surrounded, you know, in the hornet's nest. You know, and on the 5 they used to have a Democrat like that, very strong, heavyset dude, but he was one of those guys that was house and gut feel every day, and I'm like, 4-on-1, he don't give a fuck, man, you know. So, but yeah, Nico, I feel your sentiment. I feel your frustration, and even right now as we speak, you're still boiling a little bit over it. But and I was half kidding when I said, you know what, Americans need more real men in this country, so their losses are gained.
Yeah, I mean, all we can
But
do.
the thing is, it's not a show for me.
It's not.
This
No,
is
it's
what
real.
bothers me.
It's
This
real.
shit does not stop when I turn this off. I think about this stuff day in, day out, because it means that my son is not gonna get to fucking grow up in Canada. My son's not gonna fucking get to experience the Canada I experienced. And it fucking bothers me. It pisses me off that my son doesn't get to live here, to play here the way I did when I was young. That means for the rest of his fucking life, he's gonna have to travel all over the place and never be where he's from, where my values come from. He's never going to get to see that because of people out there that are too complacent, too lazy, too dumb, too naive, whatever the fuck you want to call them. My son will not get to experience what Canada was in the 80s and the 70s when I grew up. And they don't give a fuck. Your graph shows it clearly. The people don't care. They're old. They are not going to change. They're going to continue voting for the same dumb fucking people day in and day out. And who's going to pay for this? My son.
Well, they're not going to be around 30 years from now, right? And it's just, I mean, it doesn't feel right. It feels off. I don't know, you know, you can't say old people can't vote, but yeah, I agree. I mean, obviously, I don't, you know, express it in the same way, and I probably don't feel it quite as deeply as you, but I do feel a sense of frustration as well.
Yeah, well, something I learned in my life experience, and maybe this will help you, Nico. Nico Lagan is not a place. Nico's a people, right? I grew up Flatbush Avenue, New York. I grew up Coney Island Hospital. Coney Island was so bad; it was such a bad neighborhood. I moved to Flatbush, which reputatively was bad. Consider moving to Flatbush Avenue an improvement. People will laugh in your fucking face. So, and most of the people that live in those conditions can't wait to get the fuck out. So those are people that grew up with the culture that they want to forget, where you grew up with the culture you want to remember. But at the end of the day, the net result is Nico Lagan's not a place. They're people. And all they've done was make your job more difficult as a father, but I think you're going to get it done. And time will tell how that turns out. But I think we're going to be all right.
I think a lot of times when you're in the middle of something like of a moment, it might feel like there's no way it'll ever change, but it does.
Yeah.
Nothing lasts.
You're my
forever,
people,
right?
Nico. I'm going to get all emotional because I'm getting emotional now. Nico, you're my people. I never even met you in person, and you're my people. I know you feel a different way about your values and this and that, but I just wanted you to know that what you've done and what you're doing goes way beyond a nation. Nico's not a place; he's a people.
Amen to that. Gentlemen, I don't know if you guys are going to stick around for a little bit. I got to run because I got to get my son.
Got to do that Val Kilmer thing. Do we have time for that?
I really got to go. But if you two want to stick around for that,
Nico, do you want to wrap up or stick around for
the kids out of school in 10 minutes?
No, I can do the Val Kilmer just because I like him a lot. But
yes. All right, gentlemen. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. I got
I'll see you tomorrow.
Bobby McGee later.
I'll text you later, Nico. Yeah, my kid's out of school in 10 minutes, so I got to run.
We'll see you tomorrow, man. Take care of
yourself.
Guys.
Yeah, you too.
You guys on the live stream still sticking around, man. God bless you. How deep is your love? This is awesome.
Yeah, we got some. We got some great people. We got some great listeners. Very smart listeners too. So I apologize but I apologize to the people out there. This is
Well, this is why they follow you, Nico. If they desperately need real human beings who have real sentiments. This is why they follow you. If you behaved a different way, I think you'd lose followers. You have to allow yourself to think out loud and do the things you're doing and go through this rough patch that you're going through, because that's just as real as us telling jokes and having a good time. These are, this is a character-driven podcast, and people care about the characters, and we care, again, people you never met in your life are find themselves caring about you because you gave yourself permission to do the things you're doing now. I'm talking way too much. Maybe we, I don't know if I'm making it worse by still talking. But,
no,
no. But it's I'm 54 years old, and I'm telling you, you're a people, not a place.
I'm
ex-military. You and I are the most traveled people, probably. The two of us. I'll put the two of us combined travel against any other two people in the world. I'm going to Maui tomorrow.
Good for you, bro.
Yeah.
So, some of before we play this, I'm just going to take a few of the comments here, but basically there was a bunch like Tony G was, Nico, I wish you were running for PM. Yeah, bro, that's not going to happen. I'm not a politician.
Yeah. They won't let him in the debate. If you debate him, you beat him. They won't let you.
No, but I don't want this. We were, as much as we need outspoken people, I'm not that guy. I wouldn't want to put my family through this. That's why you don't see my family on social media. That's why you don't see my wife on social media. That's why I'll take the heat, but my family doesn't deserve it. So for me to run for politics, it would take something. No, I don't think I could do it just for their sake. Memorino, Nico, I feel the same way as you. I never want to go back. Very frustrated with Canadians and very sad for my country. I feel you, man. Prairie, very frustrating for sure. Tony G saying, I want to leave so badly. My friends, who's a dual citizen, moved to Hawaii, and will never come back, and he's struggling to survive with his family. What does that tell you about Canada? I feel you, bro. I've been traveling a lot, and it's not because I have money, because I live extremely frugally. But at the same time, man, I feel you, bro. I know exactly what your friend's going through. Prairie, it doesn't matter where we go into. They seem to have a TV on playing the mainstream media. You're being bombarded by it everywhere you go. Yeah, but Prairie, this is an excuse. People make those excuses all the time, but at the same time, Denzel Washington said that if you don't listen to the news, you're uninformed. If you do listen to the news, you're misinformed. So at the same time, it's up to the individual to develop critical thinking and to understand that, yes, the media will lie to you. It doesn't matter that it's the left or the right. And don't take me for, don't believe what I tell you. I don't want you to believe me. I just want you to open your eyes and do research. If you don't agree with me, that's great. That's awesome. Please leave a comment. We can talk about it. If you agree with me, that's great. But don't believe me just because it sounds right. Go research it. Try to prove your points wrong. Try to challenge your ideas where you're literally trying to prove your own self wrong. That's what I want. That's what I want for you guys. Tony G saying, amen, brother. I worry every day what will happen to my kids or wife if something happens to me. Right there with you, bro. Prairie saying that they're fully indoctrinated. It's hard to disagree. Tony G, there's many of us who feel the same way. Nico, take care. Right. I probably missed you, bro, because I'm taking the message late. But yeah, man, right back at you, brother. We'll see you next time you're here. Crimsy King. What's going on, Crimsy King? Your name does not sound familiar, but welcome. Wait, you think liberals did something to cause this? Well, yeah. Duh. Yeah. Of course they did. Exactly. It's not just in Canada, but it's in the US too. Like I travel between the two all the time. So, and I can tell you that yes, 100% the liberals did this. And the conservatives like me are as much to blame for what the liberals did because we let it happen. We thought that it would fix itself. We thought that it was like children, they would grow out of it. But clearly what Rob showed earlier, the 65 and above are still voting for the same people that have destroyed our economy, that have become tyrannical with people they don't agree with. Right. And they continue. We're thanking the liberals for taking a part off of the tax that they put themselves. Like, seriously, that's the world. Like, We're literally thanking our government for oppressing us. Oh, thank God you allowed me to say 2 more words. Like, are you kidding me?
Right.
Like, yes,
I
the
mean,
liberals
well,
did this, but the conservative let it happen.
Right.
It's a
And
two-way
assuming
street.
you're whoever this guest is, assuming you're American, I was one of the people that voted for the adults back in the room with Joe Biden. And since then, from 2021 all the way to the present, there's been the largest transfers of wealth to the 1% of the 2% elite. We got us into 2 unnecessary wars, and we're on the brink of nuclear holocaust. So I'm not saying all liberals did that, but we're not giving them credit where credit's not due.
Amen. Crimsy King, what do you think they did? Hopefully what I just did there, like I went on about this for almost 30 minutes. I don't think I need to continue, but hopefully that answered your question.
Yep.
And Crimsy King, again, it doesn't sound like you're awake at all.
Okay.
No. Like, again, if what I said over the past 30 minutes does not resonate with you,
right,
that's fine. That is okay, man.
And I have
good.
receipts. I have receipts. Like, the largest transfer of wealth happened during a liberal Congress, a liberal Senate, and a liberal president. I don't know if you're talking. This person's referring to Canadian politics, but the price, everything went up. Price of gas, price of everything went up. And I'm a liberal, guys. All right. And what the liberals did wrong was they didn't listen to their voters. They decided that the voters don't know what's good for them, and here you go, right? Election by selection.
But I believe, and Crimsy King, if you're still there, correct me if I'm wrong here, but you're talking about Canadian politics, and by liberals, you're not necessarily talking about the party. You're speaking about the voters as well, right? Correct me if I'm wrong here. It's just your comments are not very long, so I have to make assumptions here. But if you don't think I sound awake at all, bro, again, Crimsy King, I imagine you're a guy. Okay. If what I said doesn't resonate with you, then my message doesn't resonate with you. And if I don't move the needle, don't have to listen to me, man. I can't debate. If this was passionate, they came from me. I don't like sharing that type of stuff because it pisses me off. But at the same time, if that doesn't resonate with you, that's fine, man. You're allowed your opinion. But to say I'm not awake, I don't want to make this a contest between you and I, but chances are I do a lot more research than you do, and I've been doing it for a lot longer than you have, and I've sacrificed a lot more than you have over the past 4 years because of what I stood for, because of what I still stand for today. So I'm not making this a dick measurement between the two of us, but check the mirror, bro. Just saying.
Or ma'am.
Well, Crimsy King.
Or they. Yeah.
Yeah, they, them, ma'am, sir. Yeah. Shelley is saying, I'm making an observation about the cost of living. Rents have doubled. Food have doubled. Owning a house has become out of reach of most Canadians in the last several years. That's what the numbers show, and you're absolutely right. Crimsy King, so what policies have caused all of this, liberal or conservative? Again, you clearly didn't listen to what we're talking about. What causes a shortage of housing? You want the real answer? You want the feel-good answer? Immigration. That's what caused a shortage of housing.
Greedy real estate people too.
Oh, obviously. People are always going to take advantage of a great situation.
If I were a betting man, I'll bet you. Sorry, Nico. If I were a betting man, I will bet you there's more empty houses in Canada than are homeless. In the United States, that's true.
No, we're not.
We have more empty homes in the United States than homeless.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, it's not. You can't afford it. You can't afford it.
But it's not the case. But it's not the case in Canada, unfortunately, because we've taken a lot of. I believe in immigration. Obviously, skilled labor. If you need the skills because they're not produced locally, fucking bring those people in. If there's jobs for them to fill, fucking do it. But we have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people that were brought in with no skills at all. They're just supported by the state, that they do better than Canadians that have been paying taxes their whole life. So I'm not saying that we should never do immigration again, but it's time to kind of pause it and reassess, because it is a problem. Like housing is a problem. Housing prices are a problem. And you want to know the policies? No problem. If you look at BC, if you look in Toronto, if you look in Quebec, maybe the policies have changed now, but I doubt it. But it is legal for foreigners to buy properties in Canada without ever living there. And you know what? BC is out of reach for more Canadian because the Chinese have invested so much of their money in BC. They don't even live there. They don't care. It's like a bank account, bro. If you're going to take 10, 20% increase every year, that's as good as an investment you can get. The SP 500, it's probably one of the safest investment you can do. Take an ETF, SP 500, you'll increase maybe 10% a year, year over year, decade over decade. You do a lot more with real estate in a place that you don't even need to live in because our governments allow it. It's a multifaceted problem, but no matter where you look, it's the liberal parties that have allowed this to continue to happen over the past 10 years. Whoever voted it in doesn't matter because we can't change that. But they allowed it to continue to happen, and people are still considering voting for them. So, Chrismy King, rent skyrocketing and inflation exploding. What caused this? Liberal policies. Our purchasing power from 9 years ago when Trudeau took office, for the same dollar, right now it's estimated across the board that it is 133. So our dollar has lost 33% of its value compared to the dollar, to the Canadian. So Canadian to Canadian, not even Canadian to American, Canadian to Canadian. So our real cost of inflation over the past 9 years is 33%. And that is on the low estimate. I will always provide the low estimate, just because some people say it's a lot higher than that. But the lower end, 33% within 9 years. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. Clearly, there's a lack
of education.
Yeah. Clearly, a distinct lack of proper governance. 100%. I couldn't agree with you more. Nobody's building houses. Nobody's stopping landlord from gouging. Nobody's holding the rich elite accountable. Right. That's debatable because the houses are getting built. But at the same time, if you don't have enough housing for the people that are there, where's the problem? Why are you still bringing in people? It doesn't make sense. If the housing is not there, why are you bringing in more people? Plus,
and
I just want to put that
gouging. I think what she means by gouging, it's abusing the process of supply and demand. The demand goes up if the supply is short, but if the supply is there, why are they raising? Why is it going up anyway? You know,
because they can. Because people, unfortunately, bad people take advantage of good situations. And good situation, I mean, for them to. Let me rephrase that. Bad people take advantage of profitable situations, and this is what you're seeing right now. But at the same time, there's two things that you need to we have to address here. We take in too many people with not enough housing. That's number one. Number two, who do you want to be responsible for building houses? Your government? Because I don't want my government to be responsible for, because Carney is announcing that he wants to build 500,000 houses. Why the fuck is the government building houses? I don't want this. This is socialism right there. Who gets to pick and choose who lives there? Who gets to pick and choose the choice? So basically, you're telling me I can build it. I will set the market because I did not pay it. You're competing. Now we have a government that's going to start competing against the private sector with money that doesn't belong to them because it's our money. It's taxpayers' money. What do you think happens when you start seeing the government fight private entities? The government is always going to win. There's no way for the private sector to compete with the people that actually put the laws in place and the policies and that have infinite amount of money to build. You can't do that. That's not how it works. So
they also do a terrible job on who fits the criteria for the housing, right? Like, for example, in New York, they said if you make $22,000 a year, you're eligible to have this apartment for $800 a month. But if you make $22,000 a year, you can't afford the $800 a month. So you're in this
harmony.
We're in this get fucked category. We make too much where we're not eligible for that, but we don't make enough where we can actually afford a place without a roommate. So. Yeah.
But at the same time, we spoke about this, Rob and I've really been looking at, this whole situation has made me realize that people are struggling, that my wife and I could afford to live on our own, get our own place, but we're really considering just living with my in-laws so that we can help them alleviate their monthly costs. They can help us raise our children because my wife's pregnant. They want us around. They want to be around our little guy. So, that whole multi-generational families is really starting to make a whole lot of sense to me. Because even if tomorrow I start making money like I used to, I would still buy a house that could afford multi-generations to live under the same roof, because I think this is the way to go. The economy right now is kind of opening up my eyes as to what people are living through. And I'm like, is one of the solutions to stop thinking that we should all live in our own houses? Or should we live together like we've done for thousands and thousands and thousands of years before? And I'm not saying it's a solution, because again, I want housing to be affordable. I want youngsters to be able to live by themselves. I've lived by myself since I'm 17 years old. So I want people to experience that. I don't want people to be stuck living at a home because they don't have a choice. I have the choice, and we're really considering just living all together because we like it. But if it wasn't for the economy right now, I would have never considered it. Right.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Hey.
There's always interesting solutions to problems, right?
Hey, the Val Kilmer thing, let's do it tomorrow morning. I would prefer you and Rob to do that, because I think you guys get a better bounce off of that. And we're going on 3 hours here, and I can stay here all day, but I think we need to save us from ourselves.
Yeah.
But I would love. Go ahead.
I'll just take the last 4 comments, and then we'll call it a day, because we're literally 3 hours in. It's insane that you guys stick around for this, but thank you.
I love you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Nico, I believe Crimsy King comment about not being a weight was directed at me. Oh, it's possible, but as you saw, if I can't move the needle, I don't get in comment wars with people. So they're allowed to have their opinion, even if I disagree.
Yeah.
Prairie. Yeah, 100%. I will always respect the comments, even if they're not respectful to me. So, Prairie, all working at Walmart, Tim Hortons, and McDonald's. Yeah, well, yeah. Shelly, Nico, you may want to check out Sam Cooper. Yeah, I know who Sam Cooper is. He offers another explanation. He used to work for Global News, I believe. He is now an independent and wrote a book called Willfully Blind.
Blind. Yep.
Yeah. And you know what? You might not see this, but there's at least a quarter, if not a third of the books that are behind you that are on psychology. So as much as I don't understand, when I say I don't understand, I fully, how could I phrase this? I can't say that I understand, because I'm not, I don't have cognitive dissonance.
Right.
I'm not naive.
Yeah.
I see problems everywhere, no matter the party. But I see why people are like that. I see it. I can't say I understand it, but I see why. Go ahead.
Sorry. And for your guest, this is what I suggest. This is Matt Taibbi. It's called Hate Inc. And it's why the mainstream media weaponizes left and right, while up and down, while billionaires are laughing at us. So if you think in terms of up, down, not left and right, everything makes a little bit more sense. Matt Taibbi is a journalist that exposed censorship in the United States of America and around the First Amendment via social media. That's my suggestion.
It's, there's a lot of great work out there. They're not targeted at people like me. They're not targeted at people like you, probably, Jason. But I don't know what it's going to take for the people that are, this is what's interesting. I have right here, almost all that shelf. You don't see it, but that shelf is almost 3 feet wide. It's all about communism, socialists, and Marxism. Not because I believe in it, because I need to understand my enemy in order to understand what they're thinking. If I'm going to be able to talk against what they're doing, I need to understand what they're talking about. Somewhere in there's books written by Adolf Hitler. Not because I like Adolf Hitler, because I need to understand how he gained power so that I can see the next one coming. This is the problem that I see with a lot of people in Canada, is that they don't ever consider the other side of their position. So books like Willfully Blind hopefully make their way into the hands of the people that are curious, at least to open their eyes. It's just, but those are the people I might be able to help, but those are not the people I'm addressing right now. They're the people that will never ever consider listening to a show like this. They will never consider listening to the other side of their argument. Those are the people that really need to change, yet they seem to be voting for the same people time and time again, no matter what they do. So 3 more and then we're done. Prairie, how many hands make light work? Oh, I don't know. I don't have an answer to this.
If their hands like this, just one.
Yeah, exactly. Tony G, you are awake, just not woke. Yeah, agreed. And Tony G, once more, foreign buyers have also have homes. They're only in small parts of the year. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So it's a multifaceted problem. It's just we're not doing anything to make it better. Plain and simple. Right. Guys, I want to thank every single one of you for being here. We've been going for fucking 3 hours. Like we're putting Joe Rogan to shame here. But thank you for being here. Thank you for your comments. You have no idea how much we appreciate them. We have a very smart audience and we fucking love it. So thank you for being here. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Yeah. If you like this show, make sure to make sure to share the stream. This is how you can help us. And thanks, Jason, for being here. And we will see you guys tomorrow.
I love you guys.